Alright, welcome on back to episode 2 of Asunder. Before we dive deep into this world, let me tell you about a few giveaways we're doing today. Of course, there is the full-size canvas printed map of the Asunder world. Make sure you're around at the half so you have a chance to win that. We'll also be giving away some game materials. Not only the Seeker's Guide, so that you can play the game at home, but also the novel so that you can learn a bit more about the world and all of the exciting things. In addition, each episode has a special location map, and you could win a canvas print of that as well, but don't want to reveal that quite yet. We'll leave that as a bit of a surprise once we get there. But first, let us introduce our players, and I'll hand things over to our keeper, Adam. Take it away.
Hey guys, welcome back to the world of Asunder, and it is time for the suffering. For the adventure. So a little bit about the world of Asunder. It's a metalless, dark fantasy world where the gods left and ripped all the metal out of it, and where the people who were left, their essence, this divine spark inside them, bonded with the world around them, giving them some sort of symbiotic relationship, whether that's a symbiotic relationship with plants, or animals, or the sea, or that their essence went back inside themselves and they now can alter their own body in unique ways. And in this world, there's also chaos, which is the power the gods used to create things, which is far too powerful for humans to use, though sometimes they still do. And in the world of Asunder, it's a reactive role-playing game where the characters don't just have a class that levels on up with time. They have paths, which are a reaction to what's happened to them in the story. They choose a path, and it presents them abilities, and so on. So this is Asunder, and when in this we are playing seekers, those people who have seen the signs that the end of the world is coming, though the rest of the world has denied it, and they are seeking answers to this problem or to something that they have witnessed, and it's these questions that drive them across the planet of Asunder. John, I'll let you take it away with our much better intro than that.
The world is broken by the gods who gave it life, then abandoned it. We have been left to fend for ourselves, our divine essence bonding with the plants, which we reshaped into weapons, bonding with the sea, which then reshaped us. Next was the insects, and then the beasts of the land. We found remnants of the gods, chaos, the power to transform reality, but it was not meant for us to wield. The secret societies, with both noble and selfish goals, have tried to control it. Something has changed. Gaia has awoken from her slumber, and Asunder has begun to devour itself. The Naga have betrayed the Alliance. Demons flood the Black Isle, and the dead have begun to rise. Most deny the end is coming. We've seen the signs, cannot turn back. We are the Seekers, and we will find the answers wherever they take us. Our story can be your story.
Nice. All right, folks. Well, let's jump in here and let's introduce our audience to this amazing cast of characters. And Leva, why don't you start us out?
Okay. Hey, Sarah here. I play Leva. Leva is a Bakari bonded, and she
bonds with a beast, and she has a rad beast. Tell us about your beast.
Got a kangaroo ram. That's a mix between a kangaroo and a ram, because why not? Everything's weird here. It's fine. And super fast beast named Q. And Leva she's got some stuff that she's trying to solve, and if you want to see the first way she tried to solve it, go watch our first episode, and then be interesting to see how she tries to solve her continuing problem tonight.
All right, tell us about Gary.
Hey. Gotta make sure I unmute. Gary is a swole, mature gentleman in the Black Isle. He thinks Swole Grandpa, who carries a big bone buster sword and now a big bone tower shield. He wanted to join the Bone Army, and now he's kind of fallen into their ranks as kind of like an inquisitor of sorts, who he travels with all these people, especially Petra, who he's known for a long while now. And he's just trying to work his way through there and see what they're about. And he's got cool mind powers and stuff, so that's fun.
Nice. So tell us about Petra.
Petra is a disgraced Sky City noble. She's an artist, and some of her art was a little too politically minded and rebelling against the nobility, and so she's been disowned by her family and is currently tracking down someone she saw in a dream once. It's complicated, and trying to regain her noble status while also dismantling the nobility. She's a marauder, which means she's a very opportunistic, dirty fighter, and she would sell all of these people out for one corn chip.
True.
Oliver Quill.
All right. Oliver Quill is not swole. He is very much slender. He's a very skinny man, but even though he's skinny, he is reckless, and he likes to just go where chaos takes him. He's part of the bonded section as well, and I believe, is bonded with chaos? Is that it?
That's right. You're a chaos wielder, as they say.
Chaos wielder. That's it. All right. Yeah, and he likes to wield chaos, and he is a little bit too attached to the chaos and will try to get it any way he possibly can, even if it's losing a bicep.
And one unique thing about chaos is addictive. So when Oliver's using it, he gets a boon, which is a bonus to his attack or whatever he's doing. But when he gets off of using it, he slumps, and he has now a bane. So there is an addictive aspect to this. Tell us about Nemain, Autumn.
Hello, I am Autumn Ivy, and I am Nemain, who is a Picari bonded. She is particularly beast bonded with this fabulous bird creature called Azrael. Azrael is her best friend and was a saved partner after a really horrible event involving some not so nice people. So after that, she woke up with some strange thing in her forehead, and now she's bent on picking up heavy stuff to put it back down and maybe also figure out what's going on with the thing on her forehead.
Nice. And also you've, between this last time, we've leveled up, and you have a new bond mate with you. Tell us about this new beast that is under your control.
So I had the lovely opportunity to meet up with a new bonded. This bonded's name is Mam. And Mam is actually a large horse-bodied creature that has this thick horn that curls up from the lowest part of its snout. Basically, it comes up and it splits into two pieces, almost like two separate points at the top. She's got kind of a bloodied red stain at the bottom leading up in stripes from her 4 cloven feet. But it stripes up and blends into a super dark coat that's like bluish purple in the light. And then she's got 2 tails, and she's got super gold almond-shaped eyes. And man, talk about an attitude.
Yes, ma'am. I like that. Now you know our cast, and we're going to set our story. So last time, folks went to Durst, barely made it out with your lives, delivered a baby, and found a black seed. People had things that they were dealing with, and a few months have gone past. The Bone Army was very impressed by what you accomplished there. Thank you, Gary. They feel like you might be their finest inquisitor to date. And in this game, Asunder employs this tactic called secrets. So each one of the characters has a secret that they know about, which might be a past arrangement or past debt or something that they're aware of that they're going to then role play out, and the other players won't know, that will be revealed at a certain time when they feel like it's the right moment to let it out. So everyone is dealing with some secrets. So what's happened to you, Gary, is you've been pulled aside by the Bone Army once again, and they have been hired by the Council of Mothers for protection for one of their hands of Gaia. Her name is Catelyn, while on a deep sea voyage. They believe there could be a threat among the crew, and someone handy in close quarters combat could be a needed layer of defense. Someone like an old man with a buster sword. The Bone Army was impressed with your success on the last expedition, and they feel that you and this crew, who they didn't quite trust before, but now feel like, they've given to them, and since you guys don't carry Horok armor like traditional Bone recruits, you can be completely inconspicuous. So on this voyage, Gary, you're going to serve as Catelyn's right hand, really her personal bodyguard, and the rest of you guys are serving as crew members. So you appear that you've been hired on as crew, so you're even more inconspicuous. Now, this deep sea voyage is aboard a living New Gaian ship. And in Asunder, there are ships made out of wood, and then there are living ships that seafarers have, which are almost like a cross between a shark and a crustacean and a squid. And it's a living ship that they command and have to wrangle like it's an animal itself. And New Gaia very rarely has built their own living ships, and yours is called the Sea Route, and this is what has been taking you on this expedition. It's very rare, which means you must be up to something important. You're headed to some place far north, even north of the Black Isle, and only the captain and his first mate know the exact coordinates of where you're going. The Isle has great meaning to the Council of Mothers' new initiative, which is to gain control over the waters. Control seems to be the Council of Mothers' new initiative all the time. So the voyage is a 3-week journey, not for the faint of heart and for those with weak sea legs. So if you can see there up in the north, there's a black island, which is where Gary is from. That's the Black Island. And then if you head west of that, you hit this small island called the Kragan. And north of that, there's these black clouds. And in that northern black cloud area is where you folks are headed and have been headed. In fact, you've been heading there for the last 20 days. The voyage has been brutal and frustrating. And last night, when you guys went to sleep, you guys rolled to a cloud of chlorine gas. One of the problems in Asunder is these plumes of noxious gas out on the seas. The seafarers are incredibly good at surviving them and avoiding them, and the others are not. And it ended up killing a good portion of the crew. So you guys have spent this morning throwing bodies overboard, while the captain, Dervin, and his first mate, Gentry, while they have been uttering some prayers to Gaia, because in New Gaia, the worst way to be buried is at sea, because it is the one place that the goddess Gaia can't reach or help them. It's like you've thrown their essence out into the waters to be in torture forever. So if you're going west there, John, you'll find the Kragan to keep going this way on that map. And so you guys have been at it for 20 days. The crew is angry. Catelyn is pissed. And you guys are not very happy about the ride itself. And you've been waiting for something to indicate why in the hell are we here, right? And so this is where we are set up. And so at the moment, Gary, you're with Catelyn, who is doing her initial morning sunbathing. And this is sunbathing a la, bikini sunbathing for a tan. This is sunbathing to connect with Mother Nature. And this ship is this 40-foot long ship that you're on with 2 sails that are made out of plant living membranes, and it has like what looks like a tangle of roots in the back of it that rotates and spins, functioning as its engine. And the ship is made out of this green moss-like substance. It's almost like the texture of tar, but it's quite buoyant and light. And there are water vines throughout it where you can kind of grab a vine, you can suck on it. It's kind of the sweet nectar. And there are gardens on the ship that continue to grow, and that's how you guys eat. And there's 2 massive thorn cannons which have grown out of the hull of this ship. So it's these gnarly spiked things that shoot thorns the size of my arm at attacking vessels. And the front of the ship is a huge thorn, shaped like a huge thorn, so you can ram into things. So this is quite an impressive vessel. And there are 4 levels. There's the deck, there's the crew's quarters, there's the engine room, which has a new guy, an inventor, and a symbiont, and they are bonded and attached to this engine, which nearly, is all-consuming and exhausting, that powers them to the water. And this is your rare new Gaian living vessel that you're on. So Gary, you're currently with Catelyn as she's sunbathing and communing with Gaia. You're of course looking very astute, despite the stench of the dead and the occasional splashing of somebody being tossed overboard or their corpse being tossed overboard. And below in the crew's quarters, the rest of you guys are cleaning out the dead's belongings, and this level is essentially full of large, look like pea pods almost, that you lay in, and it wraps around you, and that's what you sleep in, which they're awesome because it's like 2 nights of sleep when it comes to healing. So you guys are tangled among the sleeping pods, and most of the crew, the living crew, is cleared out, taking belongings and etc. up top. And Maldives, who is the deck master, that's kind of like the first mate's right hand, who helps keep the ship clean and people doing the things they're supposed to, is down here with you. And he pulls Arcadia over to the side and Petra over to the side and says, "Boy, all these dead bodies. Feels like we got the wrong person steering this ship, don't you think?"
I'm not much of a seafarer. That's not quite my business.
No, I don't know that it's necessarily your business, but I think you can clearly see that things haven't been running right. We got this Panda Gaia. She's here leading us around, and look what's happened. Half the crew has died. Feels like, if a wave or something were to come by and sweep her off, nobody could know the difference out here in this torrential sea. I mean, you kind of feel the same, don't you?
You're assuming quite a lot there.
Well, you and I have had 20 days to get to know each other, and it feels like, based on the times when I helped you out and got you food, and when you clearly have not been a very sophisticated sailor, I stood up for you.
That's very kind of you to say, and I appreciate you standing up for me, but I've known Gary for much, much longer, and I trust Gary much, much better. Right now, I'm willing to throw in what's best with him, and I'm pretty sure he wouldn't appreciate it if I just swept our little sunbather off the side of the ship.
Well, I wouldn't say it'd be sweeping, maybe it'd be a much more natural occurrence. Oliver, you and Leva have started to hear this conversation, as well as Nemain. You guys have started to hear this conversation, this clear findings of, is this a sound of mutiny? Is this the sound of the crew rebelling? What is this, the sound? And Maldives is his name, and he looks over at Oliver. You understand what I'm saying, right? You clearly feel the same as me.
He's going to give Leva like a hesitant look a bit and then go, "I'm just here to do a job. That is it."
Of course, we're all just here to do a job, but you know what? What happens if we go through the next chlorine cloud and you're the body we're throwing overboard?
Well,
just remember that here. And I'm not saying that if there's anything wrong for us. And Gary, your friend, I mean, he's been a solid guy. It's nothing wrong with him. He's just a hired help like us.
You could do better.
Right. We all could do better. I mean, it feels
Oh, no, that
like,
was a question, not a statement. You could do better? Prove it.
What I'm saying is I could get us out of this situation. Clearly, we haven't found anything. It's freezing out there, and there's nothing to be found. And this illusionary island or whatever we're looking for isn't there. So what I'm saying is maybe tonight, when the sea is raging, we could all maybe change up who's running this operation, and it could be better for all of us. Don't you agree with me, Leva? Don't you think it could be a better situation? I mean, it's not Bakari, right? These people, these authority figures, Petra, these authority figures like Catelyn, this nobility of New Gaia is causing all the real problems. So this triggers your fatal flaw here, Petra. You do understand that. You do dislike the nobility, and Catelyn, who's this hand of guy who's is part of the Council of Mothers, is the living, breathing definition of the nobility, right? She's a politician. She's privileged. It makes you think, as Maltese continues, a little bit like, back in Sky City, with those noble houses just running amok on everybody. Isn't that right?
Fair point. But if she's after something, wouldn't it be valuable? Kill her on the way back.
Oh, but we might never get there. So, Petra, your fatal flaw is being triggered. So you want to escalate this situation towards where he's going with this. You're excited about this idea. You can try and resist it if you want. You can make a will check, see if you can resist your desire to escalate this, because it is pricking your fatal flaw quite hard.
I do want to try to resist, because I would throw in with Gary over the guy on the ship that I just met. But Gary is her right hand, and if I don't want to mess up Gary's mission.
Well, Gary doesn't need to be. He's a salt of the earth like you and I. So go ahead and make that will check.
Yeah, what am I rolling?
You're going to roll 1 die 20, and you need to get 10 or better to resist.
Okay. That is a 19.
Okay. So you're able to shrug it off. You don't get the seeker point for going into it. And he kind of grudgingly looks around, and he looks over to Nemain. He can kind of looks at the bicep and realizes this is somebody who's rowdy, who gets that they don't want to be oppressed. Nemain, you've been here with us. You've been hauling. I know you think it's time there was a change in leadership here.
I've been sick for 20 days. That's it. Puking my guts up and throwing bodies.
That's what I'm saying. Let's get this thing turned around. Let's get back home. Ain't nothing
that
out
means
here
20
but
more
darkness.
days of puking. I would rather find whatever it is we're looking for and be done with it. That'd be fine by me.
All right. Everybody make a perception check real quick.
And is that just a straight up 20? D20?
Yeah, so you're going to roll 1 die 20, and you're essentially trying to roll a 10 or better, and you have a bonus, and whatever your perception number is, that's above 10 gives you a plus to it.
I got a 17.
Oh, 11.
13.
18.
13. 18. So right as Maltese says this last line, all of your heads kind of turn at once, and you look up the flight of stairs that are moss-covered, they've got these beautiful vines, such an elegant ship. And listening in at the top, you can just see is Gentry, the first mate. She's just got one ear down there. And this is a woman who's spent a lot of time on the seas, done a lot for the Council of Mothers. And she's given a look that you can't quite read, but you know she's heard something. And she looks, and as you all four heads kind of like, wait. She notices you, and she quickly steps away. And you don't realize what of that she heard or what she thinks of you guys about that. So Maltese immediately, he notices her as well too, and he just gives it a little shrug off and says, think about it. Think about it. You want to be on the right side when this goes down. You want to be on the right side. He grabs some more of this tangle of net and vines that holds someone's last belongings and heads up those steps.
So we're going to kill him, right?
Yeah, he's dead.
Yeah,
right?
no,
dead.
I'm not about it.
Got it. So
Cool. I'm glad we're on the same
love
page.
that.
Well, we should consider something first. I may have to go talk with the captain, or fearless Captain Gary, about this real quick. It may be better to have them deal with it than get our hands more dirty than they already are.
Okay. I'm not going to complain about somebody else doing it.
I think that.
You would never.
So you let him go, and you realize, the grumblings are here. And on the side note for you guys, this has been a pretty miserable ride, but this is a crossing of clearly going to be a crossing of Gary's line. So as we come up to the top of the deck where we have Gary standing, looking very oiled by his by Catelyn, And you can see Maldives come up the steps with a sour look on his face, go to the side of the ship and throw stuff off, Gary. And you can look, and you also see that Gentry is kind of stood up, is coming your way. Now, Gentry is the first mate on the ship, and it's her and Dervin who run the operation. It's Dervin's fault. Everyone got killed. And, she's taking some of the heat because she's the first mate, but she walks up to you and just asks you to step aside for 1 second to give a little bit of air between you and Catelyn.
I will stand back, but I'll still remain like close enough to be within arm's reach if I need to be.
Right. She looks at you and says, "I know you got some relationship with the new hired on crew. I can tell. You must have vouched for them. I'm a little worried about them. I'm a little worried they might have some dark intention about this ship, and I hope that you wouldn't be in that same camp. But there's some rumblings down there that we're on to you about, and I hope that you're not involved in those problems, those dissatisfied feelings."
I'm dissatisfied with throwing corpses off of our ship, sailing right into a chlorine cloud. I'm not happy about that, but I assure you that none of my people will lift a finger against our mission. And any rumblings you may be hearing, I might want to look back on your own house first. And I kind of glanced to see that guy who I saw kind of shifty throwing bodies off the boat who walked back down. I'll kind of cast a glance in that direction. Because, Gary doesn't know what's going on, but, they're not... We got some rabble-rousers in our party, but, they're not going to be doing anything too crazy. I know them. But as far as this person's concerned, it's just, it's all business. It's no, they wouldn't do that. And
Got it. She gives you a long, hard stare and says, "Okay." And she steps away. Catelyn looks at you. "Everything okay?"
As far as I can tell, ma'am, everything seems to be shipshape.
Great. She knows that's not the truth.
That's fair.
Right. So, Dervin steps up and rallies all hands of the crew on the deck. And he has a sad look on his face as he's saying, "Hey, this was an unfortunate thing. I take full responsibility for this. And if anybody has a concern about following my orders going forward, now is the time to speak up." Silence settles over the crowd. Does anyone want to say anything?
Yeah, Maldives, he's trying to overthrow you. Are you aware of that? He's trying to get everyone else involved.
Boom!
Yeah, that guy sucks. To be fair, that guy kind of killed a bunch of people, so they both suck.
Yeah, look, we're not happy, but we don't really want to kill any more people.
Yeah.
Whoa. Slow this whole thing down. What are you talking about? Maldives, stand up. Get over here. The deckmaster sheepishly steps forward. You know my loyalties. You know my loyalties. The captain looks at him heavily, and the first mate steps around Gentry, and she says, "I can vouch for him. He is not amongst those ranks, but I heard this other rabble here, the new Hierons, were talking about mutiny. He is with us, but I've heard these discussions. I thought it was just tough talk as it happens after people start to die, but make no mistake here, Captain, these four over here are have plans to overthrow."
Oh, good. So this asshole's part of it too.
Yo, they're asking
to
for a
know.
beating, right? It's not just me. We're gonna throw hands.
So I love this.
Oh,
So
shit.
Catelyn is is immediately nervous about this. This is her nightmare come true, that she would be out to sea and then something of this nature would happen, and where there's no recourse. She starts to get very panicked, and she starts to tuck herself behind you, Gary, putting you between her and the rest of the group. And so, but Gentry continues. She's like, this group here, I don't think there's any other choice. I don't think there's any other choice but to lock them up.
Right, we're the mutiners, and we brought up the mutiny.
Right,
How dumb do you think we are? I mean, I know how dumb I think you are now, but geez, the level of delusion going on this ship.
I don't understand half the
Nice.
words, but that sounded right.
I love it. So, Petra, let's go ahead and roll a social challenge roll. Because you're ultimately, who are you trying to convince? Are you trying to convince Dervin or
I'm
Catelyn?
trying
Who are
to
you trying to
convince the
convince?
captain, because he's
Okay.
the one ultimately in charge. And maybe
Okay.
Catelyn too, but they seem to be the two kind of powers who could do something. So what am I rolling for a
Well, if,
social
you, if
roll?
you're going to try and tag one person, you don't get any Banes,
Okay.
but if you're going to try and tag both of them, maybe you're going to plead to Dervin's sensibilities. But yeah, so what you're going to do is you have a social challenge roll. You're trying to attack his intelligence,
Mm-hmm.
and you're going to be using your intelligence to attack his.
Okay.
So if your stat is 11 or 12, anything above 10, you get a plus based on that number, or if it's below 10, you get a negative, like 9 is -1 or 8 is -2.
11, so I get a +1, and
You get a +1. Now you have 2 Banes because this is not even footing. You've been outed by his first mate, who he trusts, and you, who he doesn't. So
I
go ahead
am
and
a
roll
con
1 die
artist
20.
and an agitator, though. Do either of those act as a boon to maybe discount one of the Banes?
They do. So the con master, you can use one profession at a time, and I'm going to go with the the agitator, because clearly this is what you're about here, is spinning the crowd, and so now you only have 1 Bane.
So D20, then roll a Bane, add my
Yes,
intelligence, subtract
okay.
the Bane. It is
Yes.
a 15 on the D20 plus a 1 for the intelligence, so 16, and the Bane is a 1, so it's a 15.
15. So Dervin goes, let's slow down. Let's slow this whole thing down a minute. Petra, you've been fairly trustworthy, albeit you've been a world-class complainer.
You're welcome.
I need to know right now if there's any thoughts of mutiny, and I need you to tell me to my face right now in front of this crowd that if there's any thoughts of that.
I am very loyal to Gary. I'm following him on this mission. Gary tells me the, sunshiny, sparkly lady needs protected. That's what we're doing. And take a bigger step back. That means following your orders.
I thought you were Gary. I thought you were hired on as our crew. What do you mean you're working with Gary?
I
thought
know
you were-
Gary. Who do you think brought us on? How do you think you find a crew? Crews all know each other.
Gary. He looks over at Gary. Gary, are you in on this? It sounds like something has gone on inside.
I've been straightforward with all of you. I'm not sure what you're talking about. I recommended these people. I trust them. I don't know what else there is to be said about that. These are some of the finest fighters that I've met in my entire life. I've only lived one.
He says, I need to have a discussion about this before anything can happen. I want you guys to set your weapons on the deck, go down into the crew holding until we can figure out a solution here.
No.
No.
Gary, you're not. He's pointing to the other folks, not to you specifically, because you're kind of Catelyn's problem to deal with. Nemain, Petra, Oliver, Leva, put him down.
Yeah, you know what? I don't need a weapon. That's fine.
Wow. Okay, it's gonna be like that. Oliver, what you got?
I was just wondering, can I just make my vine blade just suck into my arm?
You absolutely can. Oliver has this cool living weapon that it wraps around his wrist. It can grow into a blade, or it can vanish away and even shrink into the pores of his skin. Your weapon disappears like it was like it was never there. All right, folks. Leva, Petra, Nemain, Oliver, are you dropping your weapons on the deck?
Like hell, I will go to the crew quarters and wait nicely. But when there's people who I know are trying to perform a mutiny, I'm not dropping my weapon while they get to hold theirs. So look, I'll go and wait. You can put me away somewhere, but no, I'm not disarming.
Captain, I think
Leva?
you and I need to have a conversation. I may know something you might want to know about.
Leva just says, Maldives approached us wanting to take over the ship tonight. So, if you're
And
gonna lock
Gentry steps
anybody
in. Here's the lie again. They're trying to throw Maldives off because he's been working them hard like he should be, and they've been disappointed under him as deckmaster. And look what's happening here. You got some ungrateful cusses here.
Ingrateful cusses. Listen, I will use Maldives to beat you first. This whole thing? Nah, not about it.
Well, Gentry is no weakling herself. She gets toe to toe to you. Now, being she's a new guy, and so she's a slight framed person, but she gets right close in your face and says, "I know what I saw, and if you want to go toe to toe with me, we'll do it right now."
Then I would say that you're blind, and maybe we should. Perhaps I could clear up that vision for you.
All right, are you accepting her invitation?
Yeah, I'm down. Let's go.
All right, the captain, you're enacting an old sailor's law. When there's a dispute between sides, it can be handled with a fist fight on the deck. The captain says, sailor's law. And the rest of the crew makes a bit of a circle around you guys. We're going to handle this the old way. Catelyn is not pleased about the old way. So there's a bit of a circle has been formed now here. The crew, the individual other crew members, their eyes are shifty like crazy. They're all afraid that they're going to somehow get indicted in this. And the main, you're left in the center with Gentry here in the center. So the question is for you, Nemain. He says, "All right, drop your weapons."
Sure. I don't need weapons.
All right, you drop your weapon. She takes off. She has this beautiful, very slender wooden axe. She tosses it to the side there. And as she tosses it away and her wrist pops up, you see something on her wrist here, in the main that only you would know. And you know this has to do with your secret, and that she is the one you were seeking. She tosses it to the side, the axe to the side, and it strikes you that what are the chances that this is how it plays out? This individual who you're looking for, you thought was not 5'6", but you thought was a much more threatening and physically imposing personage that you are yet to meet. But they've been here all along. The same goes for you, Petra. So you see this Nemain, and so she takes off her weapons, she rolls up her sleeves, and you start to realize that maybe this is somebody more deadly than you might have assumed initially. But it's a little too late to back out now, or otherwise, if you do, or you can, you would concede that they are correct, and you would have to go downstairs and go with what she said is right versus what you guys are saying. But the crosser would put you probably out.
I'm going to move forward with the challenge, but my position is no longer as offensive as it was a minute ago. I will move to try to armbar or subdue in some manner to get close to her head towards her ear.
Got it. Okay. So, so you're gonna go for this fight. You're gonna push against it.
I'm gonna
You're gonna
push.
cross her.
I'm going to
All
cross her with an idea in mind.
Okay. So you go first. So the ladies are fighting. Jackets are stripped off. There's no armor. So if anybody has any armor on, boom, it's all down. You know, it's their version of the UFC fighting, right? Whatever shorts and the sports bar is in this world, this is what you guys are done. You're stripped down. You're ready for a fight that's just fists. All right, so you get to go first, Nemain, and let's see what are you gonna do? You're circling each other like two vultures here.
All right, so I'm watching for any link in a weak spot because I already know the position that this person is and holds and the power that they could potentially and probably maybe do have. I do and I did have a profession as a murderer. So I already know that when I go in for it, I'm going to go in for it. Now, the kick to that is that I'm not trying to kill her as much as I want to, but I know I can't. So I'm going to move in. And as we turn to start to circle, I'm going to make a defensive fake to the right, slip to the left, and try to see if I can trip her off balance enough to get her to her knees and put her in a headlock.
Okay. So what you're trying to do here is you're essentially trying to do a maneuver where you're trying to lock her up or hold her prone, right?
Yes.
So you do so essentially with two Banes on this attack, just so that you know from a mechanic standpoint. And you're going to make an attack roll against her defense. And at this point, it's 13. And you've got two Banes. As first as you are circling, right before you're about ready to throw this attack, this woman moves like Panther. This is an experienced machine you're facing. It's very clear. So you swing around for her. So roll 1 die 20, and then roll 2 die 6, and you'll of the highest of those two on the d6, you'll subtract from your roll.
All right. So 20. Oh no, I got a 4.
So roll the 2 die 6. If you get below a 0. The opposite of what you wanted to happen occurs. So roll the 2 die 6.
Oh no, where's my 6?
If you don't have one, I can roll them real quick.
Yes, roll 1. I think I'm missing a 6.
Okay, so I got a 6 and a 4 for you on those dice. So that gives you because it's a Bane, we select the highest of those two, which is a 6. And so then you actually got a -2. And when that happens, the exact opposite of the desired effect takes place. So you hook around to the left, you feint underneath her jab, you hook around, you grab her waist, and you feel like you have it until she drops down, throws you over her shoulder, and she's got you in an arm bar here. She's got you locked up, you know, lips to face, head to head here like this, and she's gotten you now locked up. So, and so you're gonna take 2 points of damage. She slams you hard to the deck. You can feel something just crack. Your head slams against the wood. It's mossy, so it's more gentle, but you slams against it, and she cranks that arm hard, like it's on the verge of popping out of the socket.
So I am writhing in pain. Big suck energy. It hurts. But I try to lean up just enough to get my lips against her ear, to whisper to her something that the others maybe don't hear. Who knows?
Gotcha.
But it is a message of support to try to placate the situation.
Okay. So before you get to that, she gets an opportunity to take an attack. So she locks you up, and while she's got you locked up, she brings her heel around and slams it into your face again for this time for 2 points of damage. Your nose is kind of now on the left side of your face. There's blood all over your face, but you are still certainly very close to her. You can feel your shoulder. You're fighting with everything you got. It wants to pop out, And Oliver, I saw you raising your hand there. You could technically take an action now. If somebody else wanted to take an action in the circle,
Right.
you can, even though it's a breach of the rules, obviously. Unless no one knew you did it.
I really want to do something, but
No, I'm good down here. It's fine.
okay. I'll save it.
All right, so Autumn, you lean over and you're now lips to ear, and what do you say? And the rest of you, unless somebody's taking a perception check on this, no one else can hear it. What do you whisper?
Signs of support to the Crimson Mask. I know who you are, and I merely want us to find a stabilizing accommodation for one another in this situation.
Nice. You can
I'd like
see
to-
it.
Can I
Go
roll
for it.
perception? Because I'm
Roll
paying
perception
attention
check.
to what's going on.
Yeah, because you're the most dialed in.
12?
What's your intelligence? You get a bonus.
Intelligence
Or
is
that what's your
1.
bonus?
So 13.
Oh, okay, great. So yes, so you hear just that last expression about the mask, and your heart just goes. "Dum-dum."
Okay. I'm
Uh-oh.
gonna sit on that for a second.
Can I establish something? Because there's something I was going to go talk to the captain, but then this all went down. Last episode, we established that since I trust Petra the most, I usually have my Forge link on with her, which means anything she sees and hears, I see and hear, and vice versa, which means I would have known what happened under the deck. And also that might be relevant for whatever's going on now. But
I'm
I just
5,000% okay with this. I consent to this.
Okay.
Mine
Well,
like
here's what I would say with this, Gary, is that you didn't have it on when they were down below
Gotcha.
because it takes a little bit of effort to do it, and it's been 20 days at sea, and just
you just
you know,
forgot.
it's only 40. Yeah, you're only 40 foot away from each other, right? We'll call it that.
Okay.
And so maybe we'll split the difference. Now, obviously, once the stakes got serious, you immediately said, "Whoa, let's get that link going."
Cool. Got it.
So you know what she wants you to know about this moment.
Gotcha.
You hear like Crimson Mask and oh shit.
Fair enough.
And Gary, you were afraid of that word. You'd hope that word was never going to get said on this
no.
voyage.
Wait, why?
You'd certainly hope that word never got said in your life. But here you are, and now it's clearly not the opportunity to necessarily act on it. But you know what that means is you're someone who has has made certain commitments to the Bone Army that put you at odds with that. So as you're there in the main, you're locked up, your face is a mess, and she leans over to, she clears her throat and yells out, "Do you yield?" When you said what you did, she you could tell it registered, even though her body was still. That same feeling when she's thinking something she shouldn't. And she says, "Do you yield?"
I can barely breathe, much less make any kind of conversation at this point. I used that last little bit trying to fix my schnoz. So I would leave it. So I look out to the audience and check for my partners, and look to each one of them.
You see Leva, you see Petra, you see Oliver, you see Gary. Everyone is like, this didn't really go like we kind of thought it was.
No.
Yeah, Leva just
we're kind of screwed right now.
Leva just looks annoyed because she's like, I don't know how anyone thought this was gonna solve anything.
Yes,
That's fair.
Leva is
Oh.
nice.
So Leva's just annoyed.
Yeah, Leva's annoyed. Oliver and Petra, clearly we know where Petra's at. And Oliver realizes, once again, this is not how this was supposed to go. It's like having a Blightwalker take a bite of your bicep and leave with it.
I have something that could potentially help, but I'm like, but I have another. I can only use one thing at a time, and oh, it's like killing me on the inside right now. Do you need help?
Where is Azriel right now?
Imagine your bird is circling above the sky. Imagine your horse is below deck right there. Imagine they found a place for Ma'am in the engine room. So your bird has been circling and is present, but clearly you didn't want to involve them because you would breach the rules of this thing, which would incriminate you guys, right? So it's like that's where you're at with this. This is the standoff between two warriors, and what happens in the circle is the truth, whether or not it's not the truth. Do you yield the main?
I just want to hit her one good time. I'll yield if I can get one good hit. That's all I want.
All right. Roll 1 die 20. You have 3 Banes, and you're trying to hit a difficulty of 13. You're essentially trying to get a headbutt in because you're too tied up otherwise. You're gonna have to push against everything because she's technically has you had, right?
Yeah.
So that's why you got the 3 Banes. This is gonna be brutal. So roll 1 die 20, and then I'll roll the d6s.
15.
Nice. Okay, so your highest Bane was a 5, which takes you down to a 10, and so you reach out to try and hit her with the head, and she already has her head down below yours, and so you just put your broken nose into her crown of her head again, and you're screaming out. Do you yield?
Yeah, I guess so. I can't breathe. It's fine.
So she lets you go, kicks you over, looks over at the captain. We should keep him down below and figure out what to do. Everybody drop your weapons, leave them on the deck, and go down below. Catlin pipes up, except for Gary. He's not going anywhere. He stays right here. And the captain, as tough as he is, just goes, "Yes, ma'am. It's clear who the boss is."
I am.
All right.
So sorry.
Do you guys... Nemaine already has no weapons and a bloody face. She's there trying to break her nose back into position. It happened to me once. I was punched by a fellow, knocked it to the left side of my face, and I had to break it back into place. So you're that person right now, breaking it back into place. You can hear the crunching sound of it. Are you guys dropping your weapons and going down below?
I say like hell, and I adjust my Vasha to my back a bit, but as I do, I flash Gentry a hand signal, and I'm trying to be subtle about it, but I'm trying to make it look like I'm fixing my weapon to anyone but her.
Gotcha. You can see it in her eyes that that she understands what got said, but she makes no physical response to it. But she caught the message. Peter says to Dervin, "It's fine. Just get on below. Let's make this decision as you are down below. Maldives, stay right where you are."
Yeah, Leva's weapon would be wrapped around her, so you'd have to actually look pretty hard to even see that it's a weapon. So.
Right. You also have this cool living whip, right? That's all tied up. It almost looks like your clothing.
Yeah.
Quill has his buried away. So the 4 of you are a couple of the crew members. They've got some very fine new guys spears in their hands. They lower the spears and kind of point at you guys to go downstairs.
Roll at my eyes with the spears and just go downstairs. They don't need to threaten at this point. Jesus. Such overkill.
All right, so you guys go downstairs, step down into that second floor amongst those, against the pods, the sleeping pods, and the vines behind you close up, sealing you in on the second floor. And there is another set of stairs that leads down to the third, where the engine room is, and the series of vines grows back over, sealing that. So you are stuck on this second level of the ship. So Gary, Catelyn looks to you and says, why don't you and I talk for a second? She pulls you aside. What's the read here? I feel like we've had a solid journey together. What's the read here? What's happened? And I need you to be very, very clear with me. And so Gary, she's going to be making an attack roll, a social attack roll to persuade you to tell her the truth.
Okay.
And she's the hand of Gaia, so this is a very accomplished woman. This is not pushing her overboard is not an easy task, right?
Right.
And so she has different powers of authority that allow her to get information from you. So she, when she asks you this, you feel heavily persuaded to tell her the truth. Like it almost might be painful to not tell her anything you know. And she wants to know, Gary, what's happening here?
Okay. Is this a roll situation, or how does this work? Or do I just...
So the way it works out is for you to try and lie to her now, you're going to have to make a will check. Like you're going to have to resist her influence.
What if I try to tell her the truth, but not all of the truth? Like, essentially just tell her, like, what I think the situation is with everybody else here, but maybe not my situation in all of this.
Right. So that would still put you in a place where you would have to make a will check.
Okay.
Because she's essentially trying to know, what are you not telling me now?
Okay. Then yeah, I guess I'm going to try to resist it and just try to kind of focus on just like a soldier, just be like, I can tell that there's been this bad morale with the crew, and I believe some of them are trying to start a mutiny, but none of the people I know would have any part of that. So what do I just make a will roll?
Yeah, if you're going to make a roll 1d20, you're trying to get 10 or better. And if your will, do you have any bonuses for will?
My will is a 10, so I don't think so, right?
Or no bonuses, yeah.
Okay.
No, that's a 0, yeah. No bonus or negative.
Ooh, that is a 5.
Oh. Oh no!
Oh no!
So you start to spill maybe a little more than you had intended. So let's give away one secret. You don't necessarily have to give away your primary secret, but you need to give away some secret here.
Okay.
At least you have to give away something that you aren't telling her now.
Would I have told her that the people that were in that crew were directly linked to me? Would that be something I could tell her? Okay,
no, you wouldn't have told her that they're working for the Bone Army and all that. That was all part of like this idea that they were like the hidden support.
Okay, then I'll tell her that. I will be like, I'll feel that kind of like strain against my mind with her doing this, and I'll kind of cave a little bit because maybe I think it's in our best interest anyway, and I'll be like, those people are directly under my orders, and I trust them very much. They are with me. They are with the Bone Army as far as it is concerned. And I'll drop it to like a hush so no one else would hear this. We were going to keep that completely under wraps so that no one else in the crew would try something like this, and thank Gaia that we did, because without them here, I don't even know what would be happening. It seems like the crew's ready to start overthrowing the entire authority here.
So what do you think? Is Maldives, is he the problem?
I trust my people. If they said Maldives is the problem, then Maldives is the problem. And they did. So yes.
She looks over at Maldives and she's like, give me a moment. She walks over to Maldives and is like, Captain, I'm going to talk with him alone. And the captain steps away. Gentry's a little bit nervous, and she reaches out to grab him, and these vines pour out from the sleeve of her jacket, right? And they wrap around Maldives, and you can start to hear this crunching sound as they grab him, right? And she pulls him to her, and he's getting the life choked out of him. Gary, you're watching a man who's not like, oh, this is uncomfortable. You're like, this is, a man whose hands is in a hydraulic press. This probably doesn't work well for him. She grappled him. He's instantly dropping to his knees. He's crying out. The captain is turning his head away, and Gentry is getting very, very nervous here. And she gets right in his face and says, Maldives, I think you are the traitor here. And who have you convinced to work with you? He is shambling, and he's looking around, and his eyes lock with Gentry. And before he could utter another word, Gentry steps in with her wooden axe and boom, puts it in his head right away and says, clearly he's the traitor, and mutiny is punishable by death. So Gary, you witness this all unfold. She is furious, Catelyn, because she did not command it. She's angry at Gentry doing this. Dervin says, this is sailor's law. This is how it's done. They're getting into an immediate argument about it. There's blood pouring out of Maldives onto the deck of the ship as they're arguing about how this should have been done. And you're left standing there, Gary, trying to figure out, what do I say now? Because look what I did.
Petra saw all of that in her mind. Every bit. Telecommunicated immediately. Oh.
Nice. So Petra and Leva and Oliver and the main, you guys are down below here. None of the crew, after the crew is with you. You're totally alone. You see that you're trapped in here. You do have your weapons about you. And I'm assuming, Petra, you fill them in on what's happened to Maldives.
So good news, guys. Maldives dead. They do believe that he's the traitor, so go
What about
us.
Gentry? What about the fact that Gentry is obviously
Bad
in
news,
on it?
she's the one who killed him.
Oh, good.
Of course, because he was probably going to give her up.
Nemain, who's Gentry to you?
That's not a secret you want to give up very easily.
No.
I heard you, though.
You heard a word. Are you sure you heard right?
Oh, I know I did.
What'd you hear?
Crimson Mask.
Who's
And that
that?
you support them. Don't act dumb. It doesn't suit you.
Who is it to you? And maybe I'll offer you an answer in return.
I'm looking for them.
For
A job.
involving.
I don't know yet.
Wait. You want me to divulge information to you who's looking for them for a job that you don't know anything about?
Yeah. I mean, after the beating you just took, what else do you have to lose right now?
Yeah, you know what? That's actually a pretty good point. I'm going to give that one to you.
Uh-huh. I mean, we're locked in here together. I'm pretty sure we're the only ones we can count on this ship, so I don't think lies become any of us right now.
Leva's just, been looking at Oliver do you know?
Not getting in the middle of this. Just let the girls do their thing.
So Oliver, you're stepping out. You're saying, listen, I know what I've got to do, and I'm just gonna let them duke it out here. All right.
Hey.
Leva, what is your feeling here on this?
Leva is pissed. She says, I don't care who this person is. They're clearly in on a mutiny on this ship.
There's always a bigger boot, Leva. That's the problem. The right now, sure, minor issue. The bigger issue, still to come.
Who's wearing the boot then, Nemain?
I have no boots, so it is not me. My boot, off the boat. I
Do
did
you
that
know
when I
the
got my
boot?
ass kicked.
It kind of sounded like you knew the boot, though.
You apparently also know the boot, so why don't you divulge the information, Petra?
Can I? Am I allowed to? I don't feel like lying right now.
These are your secrets to reveal when you feel that they're fit, but obviously they can incriminate you, but you can reveal it at any time.
Let's go. I just said let's not lie. I'm pretty sure the Crimson Mask is related to the Red Alliance, who are serving some interests that are similar to mine regarding regaining my noble title. And I'm supposed to find them, her, him, I don't know. I think it might be Gentry. And I'm supposed to do what she asks, which I don't know what it is. So do you want to tell me whether that's a smart plan or not? Because at the moment, I am a bit undecided.
So Nemain shifts. She rolls her shoulders back. She looks at Petra. And she sighs. And she says, listen. I'm kind of stuck between a rock and another rock and another rock. So you and me are going to be friends. I like friends. Don't you like friends?
I like useful friends.
Oh, good. Well, see, I can pick stuff up, so I'm useful, sort of. And then get my ass beat, I guess. But here's the deal. I know who that is. I'm looking for a specific trade in showing fealty to the Crimson Mask. So we have similar pathways forward with different results. Let's put it that way.
Petra, are you broadcasting all this to Gary?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
I trust
cool.
Gary so much.
I know.
Dress.
All right.
just-
You do sound like a useful friend then. And I hold out my hand to Nemain.
Nemain looks at her hand, looks back at her face, spits on her own hand, and sticks it out to shake Petra's hand.
Petra doesn't even flinch.
That
Oliver flinches.
respect,
No, I'm kidding.
100.
Petra's been slumming it for a while.
Perfect.
All right. So it's been determined the two, Petra and Nemain, have some similar goals and some focus here. So you guys are just stuck down here. You don't know when you're going to get out. You don't know what the discussions are going up there, other than the fact that Maltese is dead. You clearly know that. And you don't know, Leva and Oliver, if Gentry is coming for you guys next. Clearly, it appears that Petra and Nemain have some connection to her, which makes the two of you guys very comfortable.
Yeah,
Because what
Leva's
does that connection mean for you?
wants no fucking part of any of this.
Hmm. Oliver.
Man.
So you're stuck in between the rock and the hard place as well too. You realize the names are talking about Crimson Mask, the Red Alliance. What the world knows is this is a terrorist operation, and seldom has it ever done good things, or at least as far as you know. It would be like somebody announcing they're working for the Taliban, and not that maybe there hasn't been some good things that have ever happened in their history, but your alarms are going off that you are now on a slippery slope, slipperier than you even were just a moment ago on the deck. So on the deck, Gary, you hear Dervin. He steps away. He steps away from the argument with Gentry, and he says, "Catelyn, here's what's happening. Those new recruits, those are staying below deck until this is over. There's enough food and water in there for them to figure it out for the next 5 days. They're staying put." And Catelyn says, "I hate that because that's where I sleep. But understood. I'll find a place here on the deck and we'll leave them down below." Gary, you broadcasting that to Petra?
Every time. Oh boy.
Every time. So down below, you guys are hearing this interaction, and so it's been decided. They're staying put. You guys are staying put down below, locked up. So the couple of hours go by from daylight to evening. You guys are trapped. You're eating the fruit that grows off the walls here. But that doesn't look like there's any hope of you guys getting out. Gary, are you wanting to make any actions here? A couple hours have gone by. Are you wanting to make any decisions here?
I need to use my forged link because I can also use it to communicate just like talking to the best of my knowledge.
Yeah, that's right.
I need to ask Petra why it's just like she's down there, I'm still up here, and in my mind I'm just like, why are you looking for the Red Alliance, Petra? This is not something you and I have ever discussed, and we tend to share most of these sort of things. That's a very serious organization.
They can get my standing in Sky City back. And if they can get my standing back, Gary, do you want to be nobility? We could do it.
Petra, I thought you hated nobility, and I've certainly never cared for it.
But I like me. And I like you.
I know, but we're stuck between a rock and a rock and a rock right now.
A lot of people are saying that.
Yeah, I heard that earlier. Okay. Coming a little bit clean here, just to catch you up on everything I am to understand. The powers at play here are, we have the Bone Army, we have Catelyn, who I'm not going to get into too much detail, but I'm not saying that she's definitely with the Bone Army. We were sent here to look after her, but I'm not going to tell. We'll get into that later.
If
she's
judgment,
with the council, she's with the Council of Mothers from you guys.
Yeah.
You would all know that.
If judgment and a raised eyebrow can be sent via psychic link, I'm judging and squinting at you for, keeping secrets after you've just accused me of keeping secrets.
Yes, hypocritical, I'm sure, but the point being is she may not share our interests. That's really honestly all there is to know, other than one other thing. And then we have this individual with the Red Alliance, whom you want to throw in with, who is certainly going to want to get rid of Miss Catelyn here, which, all right, I got to diverge the secret at this point. In the point of being honest, I can't not tell her. So my secret that I'm telling Petra is, Catelyn, we were sent to watch her and guard her, but she is here to summon a beast of the sea that the Bone Army never hopes to see come to light. And I would have mentioned this earlier, but there's a decent chance that it won't even happen. And then all this happened, and I just figured I didn't want to stress y'all out with that. Probably should have told y'all earlier. But,
yeah,
but we're even
stressed.
We're even Stevens on that. You didn't tell me about the Red Alliance.
That's fair. And you know what? Gary, I'm sorry, because I've been with you longer than the Red Alliance.
I know, I'm also sorry. And Gary actually, on the deck, just but then he's like, oh, I'm talking to my mind. Stands back up. But, okay. Point being, though, we need to decide who to throw in with. Have you talked to Leva and Oliver and our new friend?
Well, for one,
Dane?
I don't even know what the Crimson Mask is going to ask me to do. But
We're not good people. Oh,
we're not good people, Gary.
No,
Have
we're
you
not.
looked at us?
Yeah, I just watched a guy get crushed to death, so I'm a little stressed about who I'm throwing in with, because essentially, following you on this quest, I am abandoning the Bone Army, Petra. I am leaving them if I do this. You recognize this, correct? I cannot ever. The best I can do is pretend that I'm doing it as an Inquisitor going undercover and report back to them about it. That's the most I can possibly do and possibly maintain my standing.
Okay, well, to that point, if we throw in and they do get my standing back, your standing, by virtue of knowing me and being my friend, can increase. It's just not going to be with, skeletons.
This is you really You want this. You really want your nobility back after everything. This is what you want. This is very important.
I don't have anything else.
You've got us. And
I look around at Nemain bleeding profusely and Leva and Oliver who are like not even talking, who have checked out. And like, Gary, Leva wants nothing to do with this. Oliver and I don't have a good relationship. Nemain, as strong as she is, she just get her ass kicked. But hey, she's willing to throw in with the Red Alliance too.
I will follow you. I am not agreeing to run with them. And if you can get Leva and Oliver in on this, then it'll make this a lot easier. And you can tell them that you have my support. But I do not want to be associated with their ideals. As far as I'm concerned, I'm your bodyguard at this point. And that's all.
Fair. Let's see what they even want me and Nemain to do. Because we could decide we don't want to, too. We're not on good footing right now, Gary.
We'll figure it out. Let's get away from this situation. We've got a plant lady to either kill or deal with, and some crazy
or a
lady.
giant monster she summons?
It's all bad. So we've got to pick a side and go for it. I don't care where we go, but we got to do it soon.
Can I tell the others about the monster thing? I won't say it came from you. Although...
Sure. You know, at this point, might as well. I might be throwing the Bone Army away, so who cares at this point? This we're going down a road that we'll figure it out.
I'll figure it out. I'm debating whether or not to tell them. But I'm okay. This was a good talk, Gary. I like the honesty. But we'll figure... Gary, let's be real. If if everything goes bad, you and I can just run.
We just seen Petra do all of these weird facial movements.
Expressions.
Yeah,
but you've been have we done this before?
We have. They would know at this point. We've talked to them, and I wanted to get close to Oliver after this anyway. After he almost died.
Yeah, so you guys can probably surmise that I'm talking to Gary in my mind very expressively.
No, it's very clear what you're doing here, and it's a very emotionally charged conversation, and the three of you are sitting there in the dark going, yeah, what's, yeah?
What will
so the conversation ends with Gary, and they're staring around you in a semicircle, being like, okay, talk.
So... Gary's been keeping some secrets too. Shocking, I know. Sounds like none of us are big fans of the plant lady up there, though. But at the moment, we're kind of in a bit of a holding pattern until we know what exactly this Crimson Mask person wants. So I think I'm sitting tight for the moment.
So Nemain slips up and mumbles under her breath, well, I'm not looking at spending a decade in prison, so I'll figure it out, and looks at her feet.
I'm going to ask Petra, could you ask Gary what he would like me to do?
Gary?
Yo, hey, thought we just had a conversation. I mean, this is fine. Hi.
Oliver would like to have a conversation next.
Oh, okay.
Can you, do I have to go between you two, or can you just, talk to him yourself?
I have to look at it, but I think you have to establish the connection. I don't think it works I think I have to be, with you to establish it. So we established it. I'm not with him to establish it.
Okay.
So we'll have to be the go-between.
So we're doing this. Oliver would like to know what you want him to do.
Let me have a conversation with the lady who beat the life out of Nemain.
Valid.
And we'll go from there.
Okay, Oliver, he's gonna have a conversation with the lady who beat the shit out of Nemain. And we'll go from there.
Great. This is, I'm gonna never live this down. Great.
No, you did great. You did good. It was very impressive. It looked like a very good start, and then it was not a very good end. But A for effort.
Yay!
All right, Gary. So you're up top, and Maldives has been tossed overboard, and Catelyn is a mess. Gentry is a mess. They've been arguing with each other. Dervin has gotten between the two of them, and they're walking off to one side of the deck, and Catelyn is walking to the other side of the deck. And in the back there is this lush garden where you kind of feed from, and there's these various vines that come down that can be used for water, etc. And she walks to the back of it, and you follow in suit behind as you do. And she strips down and starts washing all the blood off of her Inu Gaia. The female form is the superior thing, and showing it as actually a thing of power. And she's washing off all the blood off of her. And you notice something you've seen a bit before, but she has in the center of her chest, she has like a triangle-shaped organism that sits right here in the center of her chest. You've seen maybe glimpses of it before, but now you're seeing it on full display as she's cleaning off the blood off of her from this encounter with Maldives. And then on the other side of the deck is the crew and Dervin and Gentry, the first mate. And she says, Gary, I hope as things go on that nothing changes between us. You've been very faithful, and I hope that always stays the case.
Of course. Also, player to game master, because I gotta get my facts straight here before I make some character decisions. So Gary threw in with the Bone Army because he liked the idea of like that communion or that community of like people and fighters, because that's kind of what he grew up in the Black Isle, and he admired that. So the Red Alliance is like radical, like, and not in the cool tubular way, like in the cutting people's heads off, like very scary thing, like what just happened way.
That's right. And you know that, and clearly there are four factions that work behind the scenes and some in front of the scenes in Asunder. One is the Red Alliance, and the Bone Army is like the public facing, so to speak, good guys, if you will. And the Red Alliance is a terrorist organization that's trying to essentially destroy the Council of Mothers on New Gaia, and it's represented by the Insect Weavers. Is generally speaking who run it, because they're kind of the outcasted, hated people in New Gaia. And so they're trying to destroy the Council of Mothers, and they're willing to do nefarious things to meet their goal, which is to destroy the Council of Mothers so they can have a bigger voice. Or at least that's what they claim, but their actions are quite horrific. So that's what you would know without having to be a member of it, right? You would know that, yeah. And
the Council of Mothers, are they just kind of like a neutral, or are they just who's in power?
So the Council of Mothers, from a public-facing standpoint, are like the innovators of the world, right? They are the Apples, the Googles. However, behind closed doors have been rumors of terrible things that they do, and that they're trying to extend their control across the globe, right? And so there's that, but that's been rumor mill, whereas the Red Alliance terrorist actions have been pretty concrete. So, in the same way you'd kind of think with our own government, right? There's a lot of good things, but then there's a camp that says they're maybe not up to some good things, right? It's a little bit debatable, whereas the Red Alliance is pretty hard to debate.
Okay. Oh, Lord, there's so much political stuff going on. So, yeah, she asked me this about stuff changing, and Gary will say, of course, my allegiance is to the Bone Army and therefore to you. I would like, however, to try to question this Gentry to see why they were so eager to kill the individual whom you were questioning. It seems a bit suspicious to me. And I think
it does to me as well. She finishes up washing the blood off of herself and puts her beautiful bark jacket back on and pants. And it's like, yeah, it's discerning. It's confusing to me as well. Dervin has been loyal, but damn fool. I have the crew killed. It's been a little bit troubling, though I need him to get to where we're going.
Right. May I ask what in the interest of openness, is there any chance that you can share with me what exactly the true nature of this journey is? It's been kind of shrouded in mystery, and I'm curious for myself.
As it should be. All will be revealed soon enough. Very, very soon indeed. And it will become so apparent to you what our quest then is, it will be impossible to miss. Gary, go ahead and make a perception check.
Oh, God, I'm so scared. Okay, so what is the modifier on that?
So it's just if you look at your perception, anything above 10, you would get that much as a bonus, or anything below, you would get that as a negative. So if you have a 13 plus 3 or 12 plus 2.
I have, my intellect is 10, so I think my perception didn't get anything, because I think it would just be 10. So
yeah, that's right.
Here we go. That is a 6. These social interactions are killing me.
So you notice nothing.
Okay, fair enough.
So as you see across the deck, you can see Dervin and the crew and Gentry are talking, and Gentry and the captain are chatting, and she goes up to the captain's essentially steering deck, right? So imagine the ship goes up a few steps, and somebody essentially locks into the ship, right? They hand down, vines wrap around them, and they command the ship via bonding to it, right? This is a living gear. They bond. They're New Gaian. They bond easy, but the vines wrap around her, and it is like this kind of holy terror when it happens, right? Because the ship, you can feel it, the rudder begin to move, and you can see, those crazy root-like tendrils that are flowing out of the back of it are spinning, and the ship is actually changing direction quite dramatically. And Dervin looks at her, gives her a wink that almost might include Gary. There might be something more there. And then just captain and mate. And she starts to turn the ship around. And as you're looking at her, you notice that there is a green beetle, and maybe this sized, that's sitting on her neck. The rest of the crew doesn't seem to notice it there. But that beetle starts to then sort of burrow into her neck, and in almost a flash, it's gone. And
that's some insect weaver stuff, isn't that?
And so then and you could see that her face kind of flushes with information. You go ahead and make an intelligence check, Gary.
All right. My intelligence is, that'd be intellect, which is a 10, so let's do it again. Let's see what happens. That is a 3. No, please, game. Wow.
Gary,
Oh my God.
Gary is heartfelt, but doesn't quite always get it.
Gary's like, yeah, I knew a kid who had a beetle once, but I don't remember what it did or how that worked.
Yeah. Okay. So you're watching this all happen, and Petra, you're getting this all secondhand. Why don't you make an intelligence check, Petra? You might know something here.
I do have green beetles myself, so that's a 12.
And okay, so what you think might have happened is there is an insect weaver ability called insect messenger. Not super rare, but something that happens where an insect weaver can send an insect to another person, and they eat it or it burrows into them, and then they receive the message. And so once it's been obtained once, no one else can ever get it, right? It's like a perfect communication. It doesn't speak in words. It just burrows into you, or you consume it, and then your mind is filled with whatever the information is.
All right,
It's a really cool method. But you guys are 20 days off any coast. So there's no chance there's a bug 20 days off any coast.
Yeah, I send all that info back to Gary. Like, insect weaver Message from someone else. Ate it. In her head.
Got it.
Where's land?
Thank you.
So Nemain, where is your bird right now?
Circling above the ship.
Got it. Okay, why don't you go ahead and make a perception check? Your bird definitely has a boon, at least one boon on that.
Yes, actually, that's what I was about to look at.
Yeah. Certainly from her elevated position, she's.
Yeah, because she has that extra bump. It's a D6, right?
Yeah. One. So roll on 1 to 20, and then add 1 die 6.
Okay, so here's the 20. 2.
Oh,
All right. Does your bird have any perception bonuses? Like, does it have a +2 to perception?
No.
Nope. All right.
Adam, you need to stop having us roll things.
Yeah. So your bird is just seeing black clouds, spill out before you, and the ship is speeding up right now, and you guys can feel it in the deck down below. You can hear beneath you. You can hear the engineer who she is is managing the machine, and also the symbiote with her that's managing this huge, massive living engine that looks like this pulsing human heart, but made out of plant-like material, and it's all these vines that are stuck into her body, and as well as him, and they're managing the engine aspect of the ship, and it's speeding up, right? You can feel it, right? With the rumble down below, the talks, and Gary, you can feel it too. The wind is just moving past you faster and faster, and the ship banks a hard left and puts into this thick black cloud that you've been strafing alongside for the last couple of days. This seems absurd. This is like the top of the world, if you will. This is the place that people go and then they don't come back. There's no maps. There's no nothing up here because no one comes back. And the rest of the crew, you can see Gary on the deck is getting very nervous. They don't understand where they're going in. There's some chatting back and forth, and you can see her at the map. We're about ready to cross through what you can see on the map. There's the Kragan, right, where it was the last bit of land which we left ages ago. And above that is the black clouds. That's where we've been. And you can see Gentry is steering this thing, and Dervin is, looking very stern-faced, and their crew is like, whoa, what are we doing? And they're dipping into this blackness, and soon you can't see much. You can't hardly see your hands. It's a thick, heavy haze. You can smell it. It's not necessarily toxic, but if you sit in this for too much longer, you could easily pass out. It's starting to feel it in your lungs. It's like somebody left the exhaust on in your car. You can start to feel it. You're getting lightheaded as we're pushing through this black cloud, and then boom, you burst open. The light bursts open. You cut out of the cloud before you, and the black clouds of the ocean clear, revealing a small cove in the midst of the fog. And in the middle lies a petrified monster even myths dare not mention. The great Leviathan's stone head extends more than 50 feet out of the water. You can see this map here as a good explanation of what it is. With its massive maw wide open, enormous jagged teeth, the height of a man fill its mouth. Its thick tongue extends back down its throat, which is the size of a mine shaft. Its many tentacles are littered around its head, with parts of them above the water forming micro-islands. The stone skin of this petrified sea monster is a limestone green and gray, and the suction cups of its lower tentacles are a rose quartz pink. In the center of these micro-islands is a massive whirlpool that promises to devour any vessel that dares cross it. Sitting before you, unknown to you guys, is the petrified great Leviathan. So this is a monster. If this is its head, it must extend another 500 feet underneath the water. And these tentacles you see popping out, they're stone, like they're petrified, they're worn, barnacles, etc. on them, but it's frozen, right? It's in a petrified state. And Gary begins to think about that beast that was going to get woken up. and your stomach starts to sink down as you realize, oh, this beast is big enough to eat this ship, everyone on it, and then 10 more. And we're going to take a break here for 10 minutes, guys.
Oh god, I hate the ocean.
Nice. I love it.
So we'll be back in 15 minutes. While we're on break, now is your opportunity to enter the giveaway. You can win a large canvas print of the Asunder world, a canvas print of this Stone Leviathan map, or a special Seeker's Guide, as well as the Asunder novel to get you into the world and playing the game. To enter these, just write the word ocean in the chat, and you will be entered to win. This is available to all residents of the United States and Canada, excluding Quebec. Sorry, that's not our thing. That's weird legal stuff. We can't really do anything about that. Also, you have to be age 18 or older. And please, if you won last month, go ahead and refrain from entering this month to give someone else a try. Other than that, we'll be back in 15 minutes after a short break.
I'm playing Ludima Razorclaw, an anthropheline wizard who plays a magical harp.
Okay, but that's an elf.
Hey kids, are you tired of those boring old standard miniatures?
Where's that voice coming from?
It's not important. You can't defeat epic foes with normal heroes. You need custom heroes. And you can get all the custom heroes you need any way you want them at Hero Forge.
You hear that too, right?
Yeah, what is that?
Shut up, it's not important. What is important is that with the launch of Hero Forge 2.0 update, you have more customization options than ever. And now you can get them printed in full color.
It's just like I designed it!
Just log into HeroForge.com anytime, any place, even on your phone. You can make your heroes whatever you want them to be. Dozens of fantasy species, thousands of items to mix and match. Let you create virtually any character you can imagine.
An elephant man!
Wow, look, frog folk!
I made a giggle dog!
They even have robots!
A bald eagle riding a wolf carrying flamethrowers! So much freedom!
You can have your minis printed in a wide variety of quality materials, or download the STL file and print them at home. Oh, and did we mention that you can create custom images for your heroes and digital tokens for online games?
Wow, those Hero Forge minis sound so great!
You bet they are. Get your Hero Forge miniatures today. After all, you're gonna need them for what comes next.
Wait, what is that supposed to mean?
Get your Hero Forge minis today.
You know what? There's probably a platform out there where we could pretty simply, there's got to be something open source for creating fighting games, right? We can make a Mercs of Mischief fighting game.
Look, we gotta come up with special moves. You can't just say it's a fighting game.
Well, all the special moves are built in. We just have to rip off all of WotC's IP.
I picture that Grubhub in the Forgotten Realms is delivered by a literal grub. And when you close the door, it hops up on two legs and dashes away.
Hooves Hub.
I don't
know what's better, the name or the silence that came immediately afterwards.
I was thinking
come up to your
fleet
window?
eat. Can you imagine an army delivering one like taco to your door?
I think that the Academy should corner the gig economy here.
I think it's Dimension DoorDash.
Dimension DoorDash?
Brandon, we can't hear you.
I think he said, "God damn it."
That seems like a very Braden.
Now he's flailing about, even though we still can't hear
He's entering
him.
problem-solving mode.
He's cussing out something. Like, man, that was so easy.
I like when you like steal like a shitty truck from like some farm people. Fucking every cop in the county comes after you guys. But you like break out of a hospital. It's just like, well, I went over the bridge. They're gone now.
Like, seriously, you should be ashamed of yourself. This is like the fucking easiest shit. You have been programming Monopoly games since 1992. Alright? This isn't difficult. How did you fucking whiff this so bad? No, like, this is fucking inexcusable. In fucking 2010.
Still frozen on my side. I'm playing with a bunch of fucking ghosts, and nobody can complete this auction. I'm looking at a fucking empty auction screen. This is all fucking Ubisoft's fault. You fucking shit the bed so bad on a game that was mastered before the fucking Great Depression. Holy shit!
Ow, now I can't breathe.
Scratched the code.
It ain't over yet.
I gotta do math
I've
here.
played my Silver Flame Ritual card, which places a +1/+1 counter on each creature I control.
And you're
And if I play it with the Adamant cost, if at least 3 white mana was used to cast the spell, all of the creatures gain Vigilance as well, giving my token knight +1/+1 in Vigilance, along with both of my Basari lieutenants and my youthful knight. I'm doing the Yu-Gi-Oh thing. I place into play my Silverwing Squadron, a flying human knight. It has Vigilance, so it does not need to tap to attack. When the Silverwing Squadron's power and toughness are equal to the number of creatures I control, Silverwing Squadron, whenever it attacks, create a 2/2 white knight creature token with Vigilance, equal to the number of opponents I have. And that's you, Kaiba!
Party pillows don't have to be weird.
They don't.
I know. They can be very weird. That's why I said they don't have to be.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're using a skeleton as a pillow, Skylar, what are you doing?
It's a It's a what?
It's a pile of bones. It's not a pillow.
It's a friend.
It is calcium at best.
Ambush! Push!
No, please!
Ambush! Push!
Hey.
What are you doing?
You stop.
Why don't we're close?
Hello, who would like really hard mozzarella stick? I found them on the table.
Less wooden plank, you idiot.
This mozzarella stick is good for you.
Oh, I touch. Let me touch your face.
Caress me, sir.
I'm trying to, but your face is too far.
I spilled bodies everywhere. But I do know the solution. There's a business called Penn's Catering. Feeding Hellspawn and getting bodies gone. Feeling swole.
Okay, I killed their healer. Good puppy. Good puppy. Oh,
Yes.
you need to ride this out to its final tragedy. Like
Guys, I've been talking to this dog for a while, and he's got some good ideas.
I have a technical question. How short is that T-shirt?
It's a crop top.
You.
It's a crop top. It's not lewd. I'm sorry, my midriff is there. Don't shame me.
Are you a fucking roller derby chick in 1960s California? Why do you have a crop top?
Or alternatively, are you a volleyball dude in 1980s California?
The world is broken. Broken by the gods who gave it life, then abandoned it. We have been left to fend for ourselves, our divine essence bonding with the plants, which we reshaped into weapons, bonding with the sea, which then reshaped us. Next was the insects, and then the beasts of the land. We found remnants of the gods, chaos, the power to transform reality, but it was not meant for us to wield. The secret societies, with both noble and selfish goals, have tried to control it. Something has changed. Gaia has awoken from her slumber, and Asunder has begun to devour itself. The Naga have betrayed the Alliance. Demons flood the Black Isle, and the dead have begun to rise. Most deny the end is coming, but we've seen the signs and cannot turn back. We are the Seekers, and we will find the answers wherever they take us. Our story can be your story.
But before we get back into the game, let's take a moment to learn a bit about our players. Adam, if you'd like to go around the table.
I'm Adam Lawson. I'm the creator of Asunder. I'm a television showrunner. And I'm super happy to be here with this group. You can find me at Failed Superheroes Club or at Failed Superhero on Twitter, on Instagram, and Facebook, or World of Asunder will get you there as well. Leva.
Hey, Sarah here. I'm the production manager here for the Mercs of Mischief. And I do a lot of editing for our still fairly new shows that we have. So we've got a show where Sky, who's playing Gary, cooks, and he doesn't know how to do that. So it's a lot of it's funny because he doesn't know what he's doing most of the time. It's great. He also tried Absinthe, so go check out that. Yep. And then we have Arcady, who's playing Petra. Her show is Running with Scissors, where she actually knows what she's doing, and she talks about cosplay stuff. And then we've got World Weavers, which features Sky and I as well, with our DM of our regular show on Sundays, creating a world. And the most recent episode is out, and it features ass hags and purple trees. And if you need to know anything more than that to want to watch it, I don't know what to tell you. And then the last one is Puck and Modules, which our DM Puck talks about modules and breaks those down and how you can kind of fit those into your homebrew world, and some tips and tricks for running those as well. So definitely check all those shows out. Those are over on our YouTube, link in the chat. Yeah, that's me.
All right, let's kick it over to Petra.
Hello, I'm Arcady, and I'm a regular player here at the Mercs of Mischief, so you can see me playing in our regular 5e game every Sunday. I also, like Sarah mentioned, have a show called Running with Scissors up on our YouTube, where I teach you how to cosplay stuff. You can also find me personally on my Twitter, Arcady Cosplay, where I hang out and do what everybody does on Twitter, which is basically just, talk about stuff. Other than that, yeah, that's it. You can usually find me here. Oh, and on Friday nights, Puck, our usual DM, plays Fire Emblem. And me and another of our regular players, Melissa, get a bit tipsy and harass his battle choices while he plays on Mom's Trash Bin. So Friday is Ladies' Night and Fire Emblem. So that's a lot of fun. Okay, that's me.
Outstanding. Oliver.
Hello, I am Duke. I am the founder of One Shot Questers, and I mostly focus on YouTube at the moment. Do a lot of short-term D&D comedy sketches, with now putting in a little bit of a new longer series that I'm really excited about. But this is the first place I'm really announcing this. But we just got verified on YouTube not too long ago, so I got that nice check mark. So. That's awesome. I'm super happy about that. But yeah, that's really about me.
Fantastic. And Gary.
Howdy, it's me, Noctum Sky. I'm a regular player over here on the Mercenaries of Mischief. I'm technically the content manager, I believe. And I do a lot of stuff like Necronoms, where I cook and don't know what I'm doing, but we're working our way through the Heroes Feast cookbook, picking different stuff we've done. Black pudding, not that black pudding, it's espresso and chocolate. It's really good. And yeah, we did roll rum last, which that was interesting. Absinthe is a heck of a drink. So go check me out there. That's on the regular Mercenaries of Mischief on YouTube. You can also find me at Noctum Sky on YouTube, where I have my own gaming content. I stream every Monday night playing different games and whatnot. And I'm also on Twitter. You can find me there. So do that if you want, I guess, really. It's Twitter.
And last but not least, Neiman. Oh, God damn it. I'm never going to pronounce that correctly. Look, all right. It's rough.
You did your best. It's fine. I'm Autumn Ivy. You can find me pretty much anywhere under XX Autumn Ivy XX, or just under Autumn Ivy. My actual link tree is linktr.ee/XX Autumn Ivy XX. But if you find me in one place, you'll find me in the other places. I am not a regular for Mercs of Mischief, but I'm making new friends, and that's cool. I mean, I do a little bit of everything. I know how to wrap stuff in a burrito, so that's my cooking skills. I act, I narrate, I voice act, I lift heavy things just to put them back down. That's my favorite pastime. And apparently I can't fight for shit, so we're doing fine.
Fantastic.
Though in real life, that's very different, I'm assuming.
And yeah, in real life, I'll beat somebody with somebody else. Like, we're good. But apparently my roles are not. So.
All right. Well, without further ado, let's get back into the game.
If you remember where we last left off, you guys had just breached through this black cloud. And John, if you could throw back up the map here for a second. What you're staring at is a massive 500-foot sea monster that has been petrified. It's been turned to stone. Who knows when? Clearly not last week. And parts of it are floating above the water. Its tentacles are a little bit above the water, forming little islands. Its massive head is above the water with its mouth open. And in the center of these tentacles that form these micro islands, if you will, there is a whirlpool, which looks devastatingly strong. And why it could possibly exist out here in deep ocean like this, you're unsure because you're so far from the bottom. But this is what barrels before you, what appears before you as you barrel out of the cloud. And Gentry, Dervin, Catlin, the rest of the crew there, Gary, that are around you, they're speechless as this appears before them. This is something that many of them only believed could ever exist in myth, but now it is not a myth. It is real, and it's right in front of them. And this is like seeing the Messiah. Can't believe what is before them. And Catlin, who's standing next to you, takes a deep breath. It's real. It's real, it's real, it's real, it's real. This, Gary, is what I was saying. You would know soon enough. This is the great Leviathan. This is the beast the gods said was too much to be among women and men. And now it will be among us once again, but commanded in the proper way by the Council of Mothers. She calls out to Gentry, we need to get closer to the head. Gentry looks back at her and is not so keen on that kind of decision. I'm moving in closer. This whirlpool is dangerous looking, and there's little black dots floating around in there that you can't quite figure out what those are. And she starts to she slowed down the ship and started to move it, trying to maneuver around this whirlpool. And she says to Gary, we'll need to make sure your friends are secured here. I need to get down to the bottom, the engine room, as soon as possible.
Sure. I can take care of that.
Yes. And so she starts marching towards the entrance to the second floor, which is sealed up. She opens her hand, and just as the vines start to pull back, there is a break in the clouds. And on the other side of the whirlpool, bursting out of the clouds, is a seafarer vessel, a medium-sized living ship. It is a frightening thing. It seems like it's all mouth, this huge open mouth, tentacles pouring off of it. It looks like you mixed an urchin and a great shark and a squid all together to get this living ship. And there's a small living skiff cruising along beside it. And they are hostile, to say the least, as they are gunning out of this fog straight towards you guys. And Gary, you are not in the know, but you do see a flag on that ship, on that hostile ship, and it looks like a face with kind of like tentacles coming out of it, which some might know as the symbol of the Crimson Mask. And it's
great.
They're gunning right out of this fog, and nothing moves faster than a seafarer ship. The way they travel is they suck water in from the mouth and spew it out the back. And so they barrel through. They don't need any help from wind or anything else. And they're cruising towards your ship. And the only thing that stands between you and it is this giant whirlpool and these various islands. Kervin is immediately panicked. And Catlin is whatever confidence she had and catharsis she was in the middle of just vanishes away from her face. How is this possible? He looks at the edge of how is this possible? How do they know we're here? How do they know? How could they ever know? And she starts to look around. She looks at you, Gary, and all of a sudden is not so confident in you anymore. She takes a step back away from you. Stay away from me, Gary. And she looks around at the other crew members on the ship, and Dervin is at a loss as to what to do. He yells out to Catelyn, how could they know we're here? How could they know we're here? Gary, we're going to take an action from you first, and then we'll jump into the people down below.
So, when she accuses me and steps away, I'm going to be like, Madam Catelyn, I've been nothing but straightforward with you. Obviously, you saw there were traitors aboard this vessel. I'm going to get my crew to prepare for what's next, and I'm not dealing with them. And I point back at the captain and Gentry. And I before honestly, unless she stops me, like forces me, I am going downstairs to get them like all the rest of my people.
Gotcha. So you're charging towards that. Now the catch is you can't open it, right? You can't open up the vine sealed floor, right?
I forgot about that.
Yeah, she's in charge of this. She's bought into this ship. I mean, Gentry could command it. Other people could command it, but unfortunately, not yourself.
So I guess I'm saying that and expecting her to open the door because it's in our best interest to have our people up here.
Yeah, she stares back at you, and you can see those tentacles she used to strangle Maltese earlier. Those vines, those thorn vines, that could leap out of her jacket. That they're just getting ready. Be careful, Gary. Be very careful with me. So what are you guys doing down below? Yeah. You can see what Gary's seeing, but obviously, you can see on this, from the ship here, they have sort of membranous windows in the ship, in the hull. So you can see something that's a little translucent. It's not clear, but you can see a form in the distance coming towards the ship.
So we can't see Catelyn, right?
No, you can't see Catelyn. You guys are imagining she's on deck, and you guys are on the second level where the crew is kept, and all your entrances and exits are sealed. There is some windows in the hull, that can lead outside. They have like this plant membrane that serves as their window. That's not perfectly clear like a regular window. It's more like a little translucent, and that's what you have around you. There's, a weapons rack of Nugayan spears, a couple thorn spitters, and various gear from the crew members are down here among you.
Do I think that's what Catelyn could hear me if I yelled?
Sure. It's not impossible.
Then Leva is going to try to get her attention, to get Catelyn's attention.
Yell it out. What are you yelling out to her?
Well, I mean, at first I would just yell her name. I would just be like,
okay.
Catelyn,
all right. She can hear it. You can hear up on deck, Gary. You can hear Catelyn's name being yelled out through the vines. You essentially, I'm assuming, Leva, run over to where the vine door is and are trying to yell through.
Yeah.
Through that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's a thatch of vines, so there is, it's like there's some air passage. It's not, So you yell out through that. Catelyn, Gary, you can see it, and Catelyn looks back at the entrance over there, and she's what?
Is there some sort of new Gaia, or is Catelyn? Do I know if she's like Picari or what?
No. Catelyn is a member of the Council of Mothers.
Yeah. Yes. Okay.
So she is Nugayan to the core. She's a plant weaver.
So is there some sort of Nugayan prayer or phrase or something that
you have one
tells her that I'm on her side without necessarily alerting everyone else that I'm on her side?
There is a Nugayan phrase that I mean, it would be almost like a pigeon talk version of Nugayan, the language. Okay. Yeah, you could yell it out. Yeah. Nobody else would know. Kind of like how in the Good Shepherd, The dog walks around the street, and that
Yeah.
means something. Yep.
Yeah. So I
All right.
would yell that, whatever that is.
And what do you yell? Give us the code.
I have no idea what even close to that would be.
2 seeds in a pod.
Sure. I don't.
You yell it out, and Catelyn immediately, yeah, you can see her. She takes a step back, stepping over. Who goes there? Leva?
It's Leva.
She extends her hand, and the vines on top of you, Leva, part the ways, and you can see Catelyn, at an angle looking down at you, and she's got strong eyes looking right at you.
And I look her like directly in the eye, and I say, Gentry's the Crimson Mask, and they want to help her. We have to go.
Whoa! It's like the lights were turned on in a dark room, and all of the pieces come together in Catelyn's mind here, and she realizes that's why Gentry made the about face. That's why the seafarers are here now.
That's how they know.
He's been betrayed all this time, and no one can be trusted. She looks around in panic. She looks up at Gentry, and Gentry looks back at her, and it's clear that these two women know each other's secret.
Yeah.
Gentry looks at the crew members and says, "Love," speaking to Dervin first, "it's been a good ride, but it's over." And she says to the rest of the crew, "Throw the captain overboard and bring me Catelyn." The crew jump on Dervin. He's fighting and swinging, but no one man is a match for 8 others piling on top of him. Catelyn is panicked, and she looks to you and Leva and says, "We've got to get out of here." And Gary, you can see the seafarers are getting closer and closer, and that is a hostile-looking crew. They have these epic thorn cannons on their ship as well that shoot these poisonous squids that blast out, stick to things, and dissolve them away. And when you can see the seafarer, she's there, the back half of her face is covered with the crustacean, like her half mask, and she's aiming this cannon towards you. The captain of that seafarer ship is a 4-armed man who looks like he's about 7 feet tall and maybe no less than 500 pounds with these 4 massive arms, and he's leading this ship in. All hell has broken loose. Make no mistake. So Catelyn is saying, "Leva, come with me," and she starts rushing towards those steps.
Yep.
And she says, "Gary, if we cross paths again, you'll be a dead man." And so she's rushing with you. Gentry is commanding things, and Gary, and then you see it happen that Gentry reaches in to the helm of the ship there and opens a compartment and pulls out the Crimson Mask, which is this red mask that shapes her face like this. It has tendrils. It has these almost sharp, spindly things that come off the back of it. It has mandibles that come out. It's a bright, beaming red. It makes her a haunting sight to behold. And all your life, you hoped one day you would never meet that mask. No one wants to meet that mask. And Catelyn, she's rushing down the stairs towards you, Leva, and let's take it down to our members below deck. That's Nemain, Petra, and Oliver.
Oh, Petra, you saw all that too.
Yep.
Is there any way, being Picari in kind to another Picari, that I could catch Leva by the arm to pull her in as close as possible and tell her that maybe she doesn't have all of the information that she could use to make an intelligent decision?
Well, she's coming down the stairs. How are you approaching this, Leva? Are you weapon out? I mean, you're obviously... you just outed your own team. You know what I mean? You just outed them.
Yeah, well, because I have more important things to worry about.
Don't we all?
Happy to be here. No, I'm not.
No, she's not.
Yeah, so
she's not weapons out necessarily, but she's
Okay.
She is at this point. Her only goal is to help Catelyn. However, Catelyn needs to be helped.
Okay. So Catelyn is trying to get down to the engine room, and the stairs essentially go like this, and they go kind of in a crisscross, right? One set leads to the next. The top is opened up. The third floor, the ones that start to the third deck to the engine room, have not been opened yet. Catelyn is coming down the stairs towards you, and that's where you're at. So, Leva, that's your action. And the main, what are you gonna take? What are you gonna do with your action? I mean, you could, clear the distance and grab her by the arm if you wanted. You're all at pretty close quarters.
Listen, I already got busted up once. I just want to catch her by the arm and make sure she really understands how pressing this situation is for everybody. And not to be selfish.
All right, so if it's not an attack, fine, you can grab her arm unless Leva you're resisting. And are you trying to essentially make it a social attack roll where you're trying to convince her, right?
Yes.
Okay, so Autumn, roll 1 die 20.
Please die, gods.
And so you roll 1 die 20, and you're trying to, Leva, what's your intellect? Or what's your will?
My will is 10.
Okay, so you need to get 10 or better to try and say, something inspiring here.
Please, motivation gods, hear me now. 16!
Woo! All right, so she grabs you by the arm, Leva, and she pulls you in close. And there is a sisterly bond here, right? You've come from the same turf. There is a connection there that you feel a bit in your heart. And there is a sense of persuasion. Once again, this is not, she's not using a power to do this, right? This is woman to woman here.
Yeah.
And so what do you say, Nemain?
Yeah. My motives are only my motives out of sheer desperation for no other choice to be seen right now. I need as many people at my back as I can to make the right decisions for the right people.
Leva would just stop for a second and look, and she'll say, "Did it ever cross your mind that you don't know everything either?"
Nemain takes a step back, lets her arm go, smiles at her, and goes, "Have it your way. I'll meet you on the other side." You're right.
And Leva goes.
All right, so the Catelyn is now down on the second floor. You can see her vine weapon is on display, and she's opening the hatch to the third one, to the engine room down below. And that's when Petra and Autumn and Oliver you hear, and you notice Gentry's voice, though it seems to almost like modulated, it echoes like a booming thunder. Not like any woman could ever speak. Not that women can't speak loudly, but no human could speak with this kind of volume. Boom, it echoes through it. "Do not let her leave this ship. The hand of Gaia must be stopped." So Gary, you're hearing that. Oliver, you're hearing that. Leva, you're hearing that.
This is big chaos energy.
This is why I wanted us all to be very truthful and honest. And this is what happens when people lie. And I point to Leva.
Oh, you mean like how you lied about wanting to help the Crimson Mask?
I mean, I told the truth. I don't know what you're talking about. I told the truth very early on with us getting locked up here.
Yeah, and I told the truth about how I had no interest.
Apparently you do. Because it seems like your interests are the opposite. You're taking direct action. That is the opposite of neutrality, Leva. Get down off your high, moving,
I never said I was
horse.
neutral.
Maybe
Maybe you should listen to the words I say instead of the ones you want to hear, Petra.
Anyways,
floor 3, maybe stop her. I don't know. She's going for the third floor. That controls the ship or something, right?
Catelyn has opened the third floor, the stairs to the third floor. The vines have ripped away, and she's making her way for it. You can now hear the sounds of this engine.
Can we move? Are we still locked up? What's our...
You're not physically locked up. You're locked up, meaning you were on a level of the
Contained.
ship that you are contained on a level, not that you're not tied up.
So we could theoretically
So
get to her.
you could theoretically get to Catelyn. She's obviously got her eyes on you and her weapon out, and she's going down into the engine room, and you can hear the sounds of this, what sounds like this massive beating heart that's moving you along. So everybody gets, so Autumn, you've taken your action. Leva, you've taken your action. Petra, you have one action, and Oliver, you have one action.
Can I try to sweep her knees with my Vasha?
You're gonna try to hit Catelyn?
Yeah. Not I don't even know if I want to attack. I don't want to like hurt her necessarily. Like I'm not going to stab. I want to sweep her legs and get her off her feet.
You want to get her, gotcha. You want to kind of try and essentially toss her
yeah, so like it
prone,
is
if
an
you will.
attack, but I don't want it to be a stabby attack.
Okay, so you might want to use, so this is an attack with 2 Banes, but you might want to seize the advantage, which gives you a boon back.
Yes.
So it's not as troubling. So go ahead and roll. Now this is an accomplished woman here. She's not to be trifled with. So you're going against a difficulty rating of 16.
Ooh.
No, I don't even have to roll the Bane. I got an 8.
Ooh, yeah, okay. But it's not enough to take you below 0. So you reach out with your Vosh and you swing it, and Catelyn, almost the vines that are pouring out of her wrist, just toss the blade to the side, almost without a blink. She was not even phased. And so Oliver, you.
Dang it, this isn't what I was going to do. I'm going to distort time on her. I'm going to slow her down.
Distort time. Okay, so let's talk about that, how you're going to be running that system. So what are you going to push any, or what are you doing?
Are we like, okay, like getting an idea from everything? Are we trying to like totally stop this woman? Is that our goal?
Your goal is whatever you choose it to be. Gary hasn't communicated anything to you, and that's kind of a person who you're in, that you are sort of following.
She's tough. Okay. All right. I'm going off of what Oliver's instincts would be. He's gonna distort time because all of a sudden, this woman has just swept out 2 of the best fighters that I know so far, and just super easy. So he's like, oh crap, and so he's gonna distort time. He's gonna push it.
Okay, so the first time you push this power, the target is also impaired for the duration. The second time, the target is also immobilized. So what's going to happen is you're going to take 2 damage or 1 discord. What are you going to take?
I'm going to do discord.
Okay, take 2 discord, and then you make a will attack roll with 1 boon. So you're essentially using your will against her strength.
Okay.
So you're trying, what's your will?
It's a 10. I don't get any bonus.
So no bonus. Okay, so you're rolling it, and so you need to get 12 or better, and you have 1. Oh yeah, you have 1
boon. I got a boon. That's right.
Yeah.
Come on, please. Oh, thank goodness for the boon. 15.
15. And you said you're pushing it 1 time? Are you not? You said you were going to push it. You kind of you have to make that choice before you see your result, because
I know. I didn't realize that I could push it like more than once. I thought it was like every action I could push it again. So that's.
Oh yeah, so the way you push it all at once.
Oh.
So like if you're going to push it 5 times, you push it, and the impact happens, and then you get the blowback. So that way you can push it farther. You can push it enough to kill yourself, essentially.
So going back, since I didn't understand it correctly, I am going to push it 3 times so she's also fatigued.
Okay. So now what we're going to do is that I need to take 3 6. Yeah. So you're going to take 3 6-sided dice.
Okay.
And roll those dice, and let me know how many odds you get.
Oh boy. 2 odds.
So you get 2 odds. So now here's the fun part. So for each Okay, so now that means you had two. So from that, you had 2 odds, and for each odd you get, now you're going to roll either 2 die 6 damage, or take 1 die 6 discord. So you're either going to take 4 die 6 damage or 2 die 6 discord.
Oof.
You're feeling this. This isn't a freebie. What are you gonna do? You're gonna take the damage?
Do Discord. I'm gonna do Discord. I'm gonna do Discord. So 2.
So roll 2 die 6.
Oh, thank goodness. That's only 4.
Only 4? Okay.
I'm fine. I'm at 7 Discord.
Woo! So you have 7 discord. So the matter of your body is disrupted and inconsistent, imposing a -4 penalty to your health. In addition, you manifest some outward sign of chaos, such as your hair looks like it's on fire, lightning crackles in your eyes, or your skin is constantly changing color. So what you've witnessed now, folks, and most of you haven't seen chaos work like this, is as Catelyn is running down the steps, literally the matter and air surrounding her shifts and distorts, and it's like it's almost is now moving in a different frame of reference or timetable than you. As she slows down, she's becoming exhausted as she's there. It's like she's moving now in slow motion, and the rest of you are moving at regular speed. But to do such a thing, this chaos has ripped through Oliver's body, and his hair feels like it's on fire. There is a crackling in his eyes, and his skin is shifting translucent. He looks like a frightening thing himself, clearly unstable. So
Don't
you have a
mess with
success.
Oliver.
You do not mess with Oliver. So she is, so she's now in this place where time has been distorted. So she's slowed, and then the second time she's immobilized, and the third time she's fatigued. So she is now, she cannot move, and she's fatigued. So she is stuck there in her own time warp. Awesome. All right. So Leva, you have an action, and then we're up to Gary.
Question. Do I know where Q is?
Yeah, Q is downstairs on the 3rd floor, along with Ma'am.
Okay. Did she manage to get that door open?
It is open. Your friends can come play.
All right. Because I know that I don't have the strength to move this woman. I am so tiny and so weak. I know that I don't have the strength to move her.
Do you want Q to kind of come up and carry her down?
Yes.
Okay. So let's just go ahead and make an agility check. This is not outside of Q's wheelhouse at all. Being able to lift a woman and carry her down the stairs, that's going to be well within his strength.
Okay. So just do a D20.
So just make a strength check. Yeah, so just make a strength check. You just need to roll 10 or better on a D20.
That's a 15.
Boom. So you hear this boom, boom. Just in one leap, Q is right up at the top of the stairs with his massive kangaroo leap. His horns slip around between her legs and kind of grab her against his head. And he turns and boom, jumps back down the stairs. And there she is, kind of falling, frozen like this, unable to move or function. And she's down the steps. So that's your triggered action.
Yeah.
To command Q. And are you racing off after her?
Yes.
Okay, boom, you booked it down the steps after her, and you're now down in the engine room. And this is a sight like you've never seen, Leva. The entire room is coated in this phosphorescent moss, and it's this glowing, almost otherworldly feeling. And stuck in the middle of it is Alex, this woman who's been attached by all these vines to this engine, and it's just pulsing. And on the other side of the room is this man, and he's also attached to this machine, also to this engine, fueling it. And this is their room as well, where they live. There's 2 sleeping pods. And then also on the far side of the room, you can see what look like 2 living skiffs, small Nugayan skiffs that have a same sort of root-like engine on the back of it. And they're posed towards 2 doors that are almost like circular sphincters that have to be opened up. And that's what's on the far side of the engine room, almost like they're lifeboats or escape pods out of the ship. you're now in the engine room, and it feels riveting. Gary, we're up to you.
Okay, so my question is, Q had to run up the steps, grab the woman, run back down the steps. So that was what he did. Would I have had time if I immediately ran after him? Would I be able to catch up to the woman on his back?
Yeah, you can try and run down. So essentially, here's the thing. So there's 2 flights of stairs, right?
Mm-hmm.
So imagine what's happened is Catelyn was starting on the 3rd floor, going down into the 3rd floor. You're up on the deck, right? And Q was
she
already
came
just at the
down.
bottom. Yeah. She's all the way down. Yeah. Because she went into the 2nd level and started her way into the engine room where Q was already just at the foot of the steps. So you could get down and you could try to give chase, but it's you could, for all intents and purposes of this, you could get to them, but you couldn't make an action until the end of the turn. You would have a slow action.
All right. Let's see. I guess I'm going to run down there. And yeah, I guess I'll have to take a slow action. Because essentially what I want to do is I want to try to do something with this woman. But I guess it'll take my entire run to get there. So I'll run, and then I guess I'll have that slow action to try to do that later.
Yeah, so the way it works out is in a turn, if you take a direct action, you go at the beginning, right? A fast action. If you take a slow action, it means you move, and then after everyone else is gone, you get your action.
Okay, then yeah, I'll do that. I'll move and catch up, and then...
Okay, gotcha. So on the deck of the ship, the seafarer, well, I guess you wouldn't see this, just as you're leaving the deck, Gary, as you toss out your eyes, you can see Gentry is hailing the other ship, and the other ship is starting to maneuver its way around to come alongside the sea route. There's clearly no one left to defend, and it's moving its way alongside the ship. Okay, and then Catelyn is, for her action, she is stuck in this bit of distorted time and can only, she's immobilized, she can only hold on, and she's immobilized essentially for 1 minute. So that means she's got 6 actions that she's stuck like this. So 1 down, she has 5 left. Okay. All right, and then Leva, what did you for your action? You just had gone down the steps with her, right?
Yeah, I just went.
Okay, so then,
down there.
So Gary, it's to you now.
So I want to know, first of all, this triangle thing in her chest, that's important. That is something important, right? Or Gary would he know? I don't know. That's a good question. I assume it's something important.
You would assume that it is something important. Now, there are enhancers in Asunder where people take like a living organism and attach them and like enhances them in some way, strength or agility.
I have the
this seems
scar.
Yeah, you know. This is sophisticated. Is it a traditional enhancer? Sure, it's some sort of enhancer, but something that you've not seen before. This is highly sophisticated and it could be more.
Okay. I want to... She is immobilized. I've caught up. I want to try to grab that and rip it out of her. I'm not going to try to stop her necessarily, but I don't agree with what she's trying to do. And I'm not going to try to... I'm stuck in a weird position, but I'm at least going to make sure she can't do anything ridiculous to us. So I'm trying to rip that out of her.
Okay. All right. So, so go ahead and make a strength check, right, to see if you can do this. So you're essentially going to try and rip this out of her. So go ahead and make. You need to roll 12 or better.
Okay.
With your, you're attacking with your strength, which you've got going for you.
Yeah, I've got a 13, so it'll be a +3 with this.
Yep.
That is a 6, so that's only a 9.
So you shove your hand down her shirt. In another circumstances, might be perceived as a bad thing, but you dig your fingers into this thing and you start to pull, and this is no normal enhancer. It is embedded deep inside of her flesh. And as you're ripping and pulling out of it, and roll 1 dice 6, Gary, you take 1d6 strain, because just by contact with it, you can just feel the particles of the plant seep right into your bloodstream, and it's almost like you were poisoned. The strain is so heavy.
That is
How
a
much you
5.
Oh, now
Yay.
you roll good.
Yeah. Well, good, bad,
So so that you know, when your strain reaches your willpower, you have an essence break, which is unpleasant for you.
Right.
Yeah, like you can get sick, you can have amnesia, you can flight, you can mutate. There's kind of crazy things that happen because essentially this organism that's now crept into your body is challenging your very essence.
Does it make me let go? Am I still?
No,
holding on?
You're still holding. You're still holding. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. All right. So we're back around to the next turn. And so we'll spin it back around. We'll start with Autumn where we left off. And what you can all hear above you is that there are some footfalls coming on the deck of the ship, as if somebody is boarded the ship. Gentry, you can hear that booming Crimson Mass voice calling out different orders and saying that they need Catelyn to awaken the beast. And people are starting to run towards the steps. You can see now crew members and seafarers on the steps at the top, like entering down into the second level. Autumn, ball's in your court.
I hate having this ball. I hate this court. I don't want it. Okay. All right. Has anybody motioned to go after Leva and Catelyn?
Sorry, say it. No. Has anybody motioned? No, I mean the troops. Essentially, now what you can see is that there's a couple seafarers and a couple crew members of the Sea Route are making their way down the stairs, trying to get to Catelyn.
Right.
And that's all you know.
Anybody from our group? So
just Gary, who's tried to rip the. She has like what looks like a little bit of a Triforce, organic Triforce stuck in her chest that he's trying to rip out.
For Catelyn or just
out of Catelyn's chest, and
okay,
Leva is right next. So yeah, that's right. So Catelyn's got it. Leva is next to Catelyn, and Catelyn is currently on top of Q. So it's quite a sandwich.
So all right. So I've got to get Mom involved.
And Ma'am is down below them.
Yeah.
Ma'am is down below.
I've got to get Ma'am involved. So the positive side is that even though Ma'am is big and she can drag, her nose horn that's split can also dig. So she's got that extra pull that we need between Gary and I to get whatever this potential control module is in Catelyn's chest while she's incapacitated. So how many actions would it be? Would it be more than one action to give my beast speech, to give this instruction to Ma'am, to get Ma'am to try to remove that item while I try to move towards Leva to stop Leva, because I know Leva's going to try to stop Mom.
Yeah, your beast could try and like tear it out of the chest. I mean, she's going to be she's going to be biting Gary's hand, but absolutely she can go in there and start digging, biting, or using the horn.
Gary, you better move your hand, man.
Yeah. I think what will happen is on a failed roll of less than 0, because she'll have a Bane, she'll impale his hand instead of getting the thing.
Good luck, friend.
Nice.
I'm doing my best.
Okay, so you use your triggered action to send Ma'am, and on those stairs, Leva, boom, 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 the pounding of this massive draft horse-sized creature comes barreling towards the steps. And you can also see, Leva, that the engineer, Alex, and her symbiont friend, Lyric, they are starting to detach from the engine, and they're calling out and realizing somebody is trying to attack their Hand of Gaia. And by the fact that they can manage this engine, these are not weaklings. And they're detaching from the engine. So, boom, Ma'am comes in, roll 1 die 20, let's see what happens.
16.
Nice. Boom, digs in and rips out this triangular shaped or organism rips out of her chest. If she could scream, she would. And you can see that there's like this almost like blackened hole in the center of her chest that goes back into the body where this thing was at. It's ripped it out of her chest. No sound comes out. She's screaming. She's got it. But immediately, Ma'am takes 1d6 strain. And because it doesn't have essence, Ma'am collapses to the ground when something without essence takes strain. It's devastating. Boom. She almost collapses to the ground. Not dead, but incapacitated for 1 round.
Okay.
Boom. All right. So Leva falls in your court.
I get the impression that that Catelyn can't like blink or do anything. Like she's just literally frozen.
You see what's happened here. You saw Oliver use his chaos powers. You know she's can't do anything right now. And chaos is the force that kind of supersedes all the others. Yeah.
And Leva she looks at her and she says, "What, we have to come back and do this later, but right now we gotta go." And she's gonna have Q jump to one of those boats with her. And Leva is going to the boat, and she yells to the two that clearly want to protect Catelyn, or that seem like they want to protect Catelyn. And she just kind of nods and she says, "We're all dead if we don't leave."
Okay, so you're telling, Alex is the engineer, is the woman, and Lyric is the man that are disconnected from the engine, and you're telling them to.
Well, I'm telling them
Catelyn.
that me and Catelyn, at the very least, are trying to leave.
Gotcha.
So if they want to hold them off or do whatever, like,
they know exactly the call. They can see the situation. So
yeah.
They're going to go at the end of this action, but they immediately, you can already start to see vines coming out of Alex's wrist. This is going to be a fight. Petra.
I get myself up off the floor and get my Vasha, and I tear one of the screaming beetles off of my arm. And since I'm level 2, I can send it in front of me, and I'm going to send it down to that floor. And then start yelling, which he will yell loud enough, and everyone that can hear it will have to make a strength, or must succeed a strength challenge roll, or be stunned for 1 round and deafened for a minute. And I can describe creatures that they ignore. I guess like the beetle, like target specific people. So I'm going to tell it to ignore.
The way that works is for example, you could put it on a doorway and say, the next person who walks through here scream, except for these 3 people. Not that once it's screaming, the scream isn't targeted. The scream is then everyone.
Okay. I tell it to target Leva then. And everybody who's within 10 yards of Leva has to make a strength challenge roll, succeed a strength challenge roll. So whatever that means.
Gotcha. Yeah, they have to have a successful. So Leva roll a strength challenge roll. Gary roll a strength challenge roll.
The animals.
So, yeah, the animals are essentially. They should make one as well too. So Leva roll 1 for yours. They need 10 or better, and Nemain roll 1 for yours.
Leva got a 13.
I got a 2.
Okay.
Plus so 5.
Gary.
12.
So Gary. Gary, you're taken out of commission, and the main ma'am she is had it. She is taking the strain. She can't hear. She drops this triangle to the ground, this organic cube this triangle to the ground. And Leva, you failed yours, right?
No, I got a 13.
Okay, you made yours, but then
Q got an 18.
Okay, boom. So you guys pulled it out. So you've successfully wiped out Gary, and then Lyric also is stunned, right? But Alex, she made her check.
What about Catelyn? Because I would like her deafened for a minute if she fails.
True. So let's roll for Catelyn.
Yeah.
And she absolutely fails. She'll be deafened for a minute as well too. She's back up. Yeah, she's back up in four rounds, but yeah, she will be dead when she gets back up. It's smart. All right, boom. So everybody has taken their. Gary, have you gone? But you're incapacitated now.
Yeah.
You're stunned. You're out of it. Arcadia, you're Nemain, have you haven't taken your action yet? Have you used your triggered action to summon man, but you haven't gone yet, right?
No, I have not.
Okay, what are you doing?
And I'm still active. So at this point, I would. God, there's so much going on. There's chaos. I'm obviously concerned for Ma'am, but I know that they will pick themselves up eventually. The problem is that Q and Leva are not incapacitated right now. So I would turn. Can I turn to Petra to ask their thought about using the bug in the first place, or would that be my action?
I mean, you can throw that. Doesn't take your action to say why did you use the bug while you're doing something. You can that.
You got an MO, friend.
Sorry, you just lost a fight like 15, not that long ago. Come on. We're all doing our best here, Nemain.
I also want to do my best. I'm asking if you had a goal.
To stun them.
Great. So I will move to punch Leva.
All right. So, Leva, what's your defense?
Sorry, gotta scroll up. 10.
10. Okay. So go ahead and has everybody then started to go down into the engine room? Because I think only Autumn, you've gone down there if you're going to go punch her. Arcadia, I guess you go down there. Oliver, did you go down into the engine room?
I haven't gone yet.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay, so
all I did was freeze her, and everyone's arguing why there's this like godly formed Oliver right now, and he's just like, "Hey Petra, you can see what I can do now."
All right, so go ahead and roll an attack. Leva, what's your defense?
10.
Okay, so you just need 10 or better, Nemain, on a strength, with your strength bonus.
Okay. 20!
Nice. So what you can do here now is, your punch does essentially 1d3 damage. Mm-hmm. So you can double that damage, or you can try and attempt to knock her down. You could add an affliction, a 1 level up affliction. So like, she could become fatigued. She could fall prone. You can try to do more damage.
It is very, very clear that I do not want to hurt her. I just want to incapacitate her enough to make her think a little further about the situation and the fact of what's about to happen to everybody involved and not just the separate parties.
Okay. So you want to you're trying to knock her down.
Yes.
Knock her prone. Yeah, okay, gotcha. So roll 1d6. Essentially the way to do it is you roll 1d6 for 3. And so essentially you're just rolling, you're going to roll 1d6 and then cut the number in half and round down to get how much damage you do, plus your strength bonus.
All right, so for the 6, 4.
So you do 2 damage, and then do you have any strength bonus?
I thought I did.
What's your strength?
My strength is 10.
Okay, so no plus to that, but you turn around and haul off and slam your fist into Leva's face. Now there's a second woman in this group with a nose on the left side of her face. Boom! She knocks down to the ground. Sorry. She goes tumbling down the steps. You're the crooked nose duo, and she's tossed down to the floor. Blood's all over her face. She's hurt. She's far from dead, but gosh, that was miserable. Oliver, balls in your camp.
Oh, that's a very good question. Do Leva's already getting taken care of. What was happening above deck where Gary's at right now? What's going on there again?
No, Gary's down below in the engine room.
Oh,
what's happening is
everyone
above deck. There's the seafarers and the rest of the crew are trying to make their way down here to get involved in this conflict.
Oh, dang. Dang it, I hate having only one level 1 slot. Oh, I could have done something really cool. Okay. Okay, well, what I'm going to do is I am going to use a level 0 power, and I'm going to use Maintain the High, and I'm going to take a damage. Actually, no, I'm gonna take a Discord. I'm going to take another Discord, so I'm at 8. So I'm going to Maintain the High, so I get a 1 boon for all attacks and challenge rolls.
Cool. Well, and you already, yep.
I'm gonna just start making my way towards the engine room as well, because I don't know what else I can do at the moment.
All right, so you leap down the steps. You're now in the engine room with them. And Alex steps forward, and she extends both of her hands, and she closes the hatch to the engine room. So the seafarers and the other crew members slam into it. You can hear them hitting it with their spears and trying to cut into the vine work that has now sealed off the engine room.
Okay.
And Lyric is still the other symbiote. He's on the ground, trying to hold his ears. He's stunned from the attack. And now Catelyn is 3 away from getting back into real time. All right, Gary, the ball's in your court here. We're at a new round.
Am I unincapacitated now, or is there a thing that happens?
Yeah, you're right. They're incapacitated for 1 round and then deaf for a minute, right, Arcady?
Okay, well, I can't hear anything, so I'm kind of freaking out, but also Petra can still hear me, so I can still, like, communicate. Like, so I'm like, I can't hear. I know that was you.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
And I'm gonna look down. Is that triangle still on the ground?
The triangle is still sitting on the ground.
I've seen these things, and I touched it. Like, what is the process of bonding to these? Can I just, like, if I rip the one that I was using off, because I know you can't have more than one, but if I rip that one off and put this one in, is it gonna be essentially a will check to see if I don't destroy myself trying to use it, or how does this work?
No, you can try and bond. You're gonna take some strain for sure.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna take one. Clearly, this is a serious item to bond with. So you're gonna take a 1d6 strain to connect with it.
Okay. Yeah, this is desperate times, and I don't know what is happening. So Gary can't hear, knows he's close to breaking as far as strain's concerned, and he's just like, we got to make sure that this is dealt with and that this doesn't go. Essentially, I don't want this triangle to fall into their hands who's trying to get away, or any of the seafarers, because he's thinking maybe it might also have something to do with waking this thing up. So he's going to pick it up. And instead of putting it on his chest, he's actually going to try to, like, stick it behind on his back, somewhere where it's less conspicuous. And he's just going to slam it in there after it, like, ripping off the wrist guard and just, like, just
go for it, right?
Now it's like,
So you slam that thing into you, and it feels like you stuck both your hands in light sockets. You are as alive as you've ever been, and you can feel it coursing through you. Roll 1d6.
Okay. That is a 2.
So what does that take your strain up to?
Let me open that sheet up real quick. It's over here in this tab. My strain was at 5, so that puts it up to 7 out of 10. My will is 10.
Okay. So you're shaken, you're feeling it, but as soon as that connects with you, when you're looking around this engine room, it's like it all becomes visible to you. Like, you can see the parts inside of this engine. You can see the organic pieces in the floor. You can now kind of see how Catelyn was seeing the world. You can see the structure of it. And what you can see beneath your feet is there is some sort of circular spherical energy that's pulsing beneath your feet. And if you are looking around the room, you can see that there is, on the other side of the room, there is a similar triangular shaped cubby. embedded in the wall, and you can kind of feel as you would imagine maybe somebody who is plant bonded feels as you are hearing all of the organic machines function together.
Okay, and I'm
Alex, the engineer who runs the engine, she has a look of panic on her face when she sees you get that, and she says, "No, not for you." All right, so there's your action. Leva, it's back to you here.
All right. I guess I use my action to get up.
You don't. That's not a full action. You can get up.
I'm just we're getting on the skiff. If we're not already on the skiff, I'm telling Q to get Catelyn to the skiff, and I'm going for the skiff.
Okay, so you take your action, your triggered action, and you leap into the skiff. Go ahead. You can immediately, as soon as you touch the skiff, you realize this is something you have to bond to maneuver. Mm-hmm. So you can bond with it as you hit the skiff.
Okay. Do I do a roll for that?
Yeah. So this is not like the thing is you just take 2 strain.
Oh, okay. Oh, also that's an important question. Is my strain from the last time, since it's been a couple months, would that be?
It's gone. Yeah.
Gone. Yeah. Okay. So yeah. Cool.
Yeah. You have 2 strain. So this is not nearly what he is holding in his hand. But you connect with the skiff, and you can the root system in the back of it that functions almost as its motor. They start to wiggle and come to life. There's this phosphorescent glow about it that brightens up, and you can feel this thing is built for speed. And as you look ahead at this, circular door frame in front of you, this looks like an organic system that's turned into a circle. You could command it to open.
Oh, well, I do that.
Okay, so that's the end of your action. Sorry, is to bond, but you can feel. You can next time you can take an action. Yeah. You can feel now that you're in charge of this thing. All right, Arcady, where do you? Sorry, Nemaine, where do you? Where to you, Nemaine?
So my big concern is Leva and Catelyn taking off, because as far as I'm concerned, I don't know where they're going or why, or what Catelyn's big importance is. Azriel is still above the boat, yes?
Yeah, she's still flying above.
Okay, so I would want to try to put Azriel in a position to dive towards what is allowing for the bio motor, basically, of this skiff, to take out the boat, if she can do that. She can't do it yet, because the boat, if you can imagine these little lifeboats that she's getting into, it's inside of the hull. It hasn't ejected yet. So according to your bird above, she can't even see any of that. She can only see the ship. She can see the seafarer ship next to it. She can see that you guys are skirting right around the whirlpool, getting close to the mouth of the Great Leviathan. She can see the Gentry is screaming at the people to just, to cut down into the ship. She can see all of the chaos above, but she can't see the actual little skiffs that are inside the hull. Okay. So that's not a move we'd want to make yet.
Yeah.
And we have 2 turns left until Catelyn wakes up.
That's right. Yep.
All right. So I turn to Gary and try to address Gary on what he's seeing, and if there's anything that we can use to our advantage in this situation, considering that we're stuck in the middle right now. And I look at him with very pleading eyes of, look, I'm in a shit situation and so are you, so we need to figure this out.
And Gary sees all this, and he can see your face, but he can't hear you. So he just sees this and reads your emotion, and it's just like... It's just like an assumption that you're going after them, and I'm like... And he's way louder, because he's just like, get the plant weaver, but leave... And he's trying because he can't hear himself talk, so he's just trying, and he's like, I'll make sure the door, you do that, good job, I can't hear.
My poor giant muscly friend, oh no.
I'm deaf and beautiful, it's horrible.
In that case, I notice him motioning. I can't quite understand what he's saying, but it's very, very clear that he's motioning pretty enthusiastically towards Catelyn. So I will make my move to grab Catelyn, either by the ankle or by the arm, whatever I can while she's incapacitated, to try to jerk her away from the skiff.
Okay, so go ahead and roll 1d20. You're essentially contending with Q, who's got her in his horns.
Oh, and I assume Mam's still down, right? I think you said 1 round.
Yeah. So Mam would be coming back, right? But Mam is deaf at the moment. Yeah. So it's 1 round. Yeah.
18. Yeah.
So you get over and you grab a hold of Catelyn. You got a leg or by the ankle and her wrist, so you could start pulling her, and you just. Well, I guess make a strength check. See if you can pull her out of the skiff. I'm assuming, Leva, you're resisting, right? Yeah. So you're going to go ahead and need to make a strength attack against Leva's strength. So, Leva, what's your strength?
It's a 9, so it'll be a -1 to whatever I roll.
Okay, so you're trying to get 9 or better on your roll. Yeah. So go ahead and roll 1d20, Nemain. Oh, I'm sorry. You already rolled. It was your 18. So you get over there and you rip her out of the skiff. This frozen woman who's wanting to say something but can't. She's stuck in this capsule of time. Thank you, Oliver. And she is ripped out of the skiff here. Her body slams to the ground. She's going to be bruised, but she's not wounded. Arcady, what are you doing?
What would I have seen through the link that I have with Gary when he jammed that thing into his back and kind of connected? What would that look like?
You would see the same thing. You would see what he is seeing. You would see the parts of the engine moving. You would see this force of energy that's beneath your feet. You would see the triangular cubby. You would see the way this is all sort of looped together, and the organism of this ship, and that there is something beneath your feet that has some tremendous energy.
I'm gonna take an educated wild guess maybe and go to run to the triangle mechanism in the wall, the slot, and I'm gonna jam my Vasha in it and try to disfigure the shape, because I think it's meant for something to slot into it, and if I can break the keyhole, then the key won't fit. And I think that's what wakes up the beast, but I don't know for sure. But I'm willing to take that bet.
And so so roll 1d20. You just need to hit 10 or better. You're simply tearing at
16.
Okay, so you tear your Vasha into this. You jam it right into that triangle thing. You start to cut, and what you can see through Gary's eyes is, through Gary, there is a scream from the ship, right? You're hitting it right at its heart here, and you can feel that in your head, Petrus. You're digging away at it with your Vasha.
Very upset that I'm hurting Gary, but this seems like something. It's gonna do something.
Right, okay, so you're tearing at it. It's certainly something has changed. You don't know just yet what, but something has been impacted on the ship. Oliver.
Help.
Oliver, what are you doing here? You've got the skiff that's trying to get out the door. You've got Catelyn frozen. Numain has grabbed her. You've got Gary talking like a dummy, and Leva turned against the group.
I don't know. Oh man, Oh man, I feel like it always gets to me and everyone goes and does one thing and it's like, okay, where do I go now? Oh shoot, man.
Are you helping Leva? Are you helping Gary? Are you helping? Who are
I gotta
you helping?
help Gary. I gotta help Gary. I guess. I'm sorry. I'm literally just at a loss on where I'm needed and what I can do. I just like.
Well, here's what you can do. You can jump on the skiff with Leva and say, "Hey, where are you going?" Or you can try and attack Alex or Lyric, these two engineers who are looking pretty deadly when
There's
it comes
also
to their
another
action.
skiff if you want to just sink it.
I can't. No one's around, but it has to do with my secret. I'm kind of, I can't do something rash at the moment. I'll attack one of the engineers. I will take my vine blade back out of my arm, and does that take an action?
No, that's a free action.
Okay. I'm gonna take out my vine blade, and I'm gonna make it just like in this long, like short rapier, just a very pointy spike at the end, and I'm gonna attack one of the engineers, the Alex. We'll go with the Alex dude.
Yeah, so that Lyric is his name. Alex.
Oh,
is the
Lyric.
name of
Sorry.
the- Yeah, go for it.
Okay.
So you're rolling against defense. A 13.
Okay, I do got a
13.
boon.
Cool.
Got a 3.
So you come with this dashing stance and you whip that rapier around, and he's prepared to move, but he stays totally still and you miss him. As you glide
That's
right past
embarrassing.
him. Yeah. So now it's Alex and Lyric's turn. And so Alex says to Lyric, we have to move now. It's too late. And she rushes over and jams her hand into that cubby where your Vosh is tearing away at it. And the floor starts to peel away in a section of it, revealing this sphere about maybe 3 by 3 by 3, right? And it's inside of it what looks like as a fetus, if that fetus is going to grow into a tree. And it's just floating in this liquid, and it's this membranous, has this membranous translucent shell around it, and it's floating in it. And she says, and she yells out to Lyric, grab the life force and get on the skiff. So Lyric comes rushing over and grabs the sphere. And lifts it up and is on his way to getting into the skiff. All right. So up above, you can still smashing into the vines. They're tearing through. You can start to now see some of the spears and shell axes of the seafarers are tearing through. In another 2 rounds, they're going to be through that floor. All right. And now Catelyn slowly shifts back into our top. And she's now present, though deaf, for another couple rounds. She's deaf. But she's looking around frantically. She's trying to speak, and it's just coming out as mumbles as she's trying to talk to people. And our action is turned over to Gary.
So yeah, I mean, I saw her jam her hand in this hole and like make the floor start opening. I see the lady awake now, Catelyn. I see Leva over there as well, and I see Oliver fighting the two behind me, and I see this fetus tree. Okay. So just so at least one other person understands, and then maybe out loud, but first in his mind to Petra, I don't care about where Leva goes. In fact, I'd prefer it if she gets out of here, and even if the lady gets out of here, but no one is bringing that to life in my book, like as far as I'm concerned.
Agreed. One word back.
And that's what, and then he'll try, it'll probably come out way too loud. No one is bringing the snake to life. And then he runs, and he's got this thing that allows him to control the plant things now. So he's going to run over and try to jump in the skiff the guy with the embryos getting in, and like, listen, bro, we can throw down, but like.
Okay, cool. So you make your action, you jump in there, and as you touch the skiff, you don't even have to bond to it. It's immediately alive. And as you're right next, because of this, and as you're right next to the life force, it becomes clear that's what this triangle is about. It's the triangle communicates to the life force.
Like, how you doing in there, bud?
And Catelyn is screaming and this nonsensical thing, yelling at Lyric, pointing at you, pointing at the triangle thing on your back. And you see that she's trying to communicate that to him, that is a needed component for the life force to work. Gary, that's your action. Leva, what are you doing here? You can open the door in front of you. You can do whatever you'd like.
Would I also see what Catelyn is trying to communicate?
Yeah, absolutely. You guys are all in a tight quarter. Anybody who's doing anything, the rest of the group sees.
Does it
what's
look
going
like
on.
he got what she was saying? Like, does it look like that lyric like?
Yeah. He's getting it now because
okay.
He lost sight of where that thing even went. You know, it's on Gary's back and the whole thing.
Okay. Then yeah, I'm like gonna, since she can at least move now, getting Q to get Catelyn.
Okay, so you're gonna have Q rip Catelyn away from Autumn.
Yeah.
Again, okay. Yeah. So roll 1d20, and what's your strength, Autumn? It's 10, right?
It's 10.
Okay, let's see if you can do it. You need 10 or better, Q.
Okay, well that's a 9, but I
mean, and Catelyn she's a fully functioning woman now. She can do stuff. She's not she's not frozen. She can do things. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I also have I have my Beast Bond, which says I can use a triggered action to grant a boon.
Yeah, that's true.
To Q, does that use it says to use a triggered.
Yeah, the problem is you're using your one triggered action to command Q to do something, so you don't have that second one.
Okay. So then it's
that
I either do that or something else. Like I can't.
Right.
Yeah.
That's kind of an instance where Q is attacking somebody that's coming after you.
Yeah.
It's an obvious thing, but this would require you because it's specific.
Okay. I wasn't sure. The triggered action versus action thing is still. Okay, then yeah, I'll just. I mean, that's what I have Q try to do, and then I am, for my action, I'm opening the door.
Okay, so roll 1d20 for Q.
Yeah, that one was a 2.
All right, so Q comes around and Nemain gives him a nice solid heel kick right to the center of its head, and boom, it bounces back away. Boom, you open the doorway, and some water rushes in from outside. You can see in the water those black dots that you're seeing circling in the whirlpool look like these are sharks with massive maws that are open, that are swirling in the whirlpool there. This is treacherous water out there, to say the least. And roll an intelligence check really quickly.
That is, hold on, I gotta see what my 13, or my intellect is as a 10, so.
Okay, so that what you realize that is you've heard rumors about this thing called the Hungry Fleet, which are feral ships that have run away from the seafarers, that are just these living ships that have become wild animals, and this looks like one of them that's cruising around in the water here. No one knows where they ever go to, and it looks like here's where they come. So this thing is floating around in the water, and you guys are right at the edge of the whirlpool. There, if you shoot out, you're gonna have to make some serious maneuvering not to put yourself right in the whirlpool. Okay. So you're there, and okay, so now, Nemain, it's your turn.
So much chaos. So my immediate move is wanting to go and defend Gary, because I can see the movement happening with the other two, engineer and the Sembai. So I want to make that action to move towards Gary to defend him and make sure his back is watched. But that would require me yeeting Catelyn into the water.
So you're going to toss Catelyn into the water?
Yeah, you know what? I'm throwing her into the water because at this point I have bigger concerns, and that's a weird baby.
Okay. All right, here you go. So you are going to, so this is with 2 Banes, because you're trying to actually physically move her through some serious space. You're trying to move her 6-7 feet. You're good. This is you know, linebacker running throw. So go ahead and roll 1d20.
I hate that this is how she does things.
This is how she does things.
Oh no, 8.
Okay, shoot. Okay, so you pick up Catelyn on your shoulder and you start running, but she slips off your shoulder. She twists you about her hip and tosses you out of the way, and she's still on the boat here with you. And so back to Arcady.
I have the same instinct to go defend Gary, especially since we have the mental link, so I kind of saw that click into place. So yeah, I run to the skiff where Gary is and stand in front of him, which is usually the reverse.
You stand in front of the skiff, and so it's blocking it. It would have to go through you. Is that what you're saying?
No, I want to stand between Gary and the person, the engineer who is coming after him.
So they're both on this skiff right now. So like Gary's within like 3 feet of this guy.
Oh.
Right, like he jumped on the skiff. This skiff, if you can imagine it, this thing is like, imagine it's around 10 feet long, right? It's probably 3-4 feet wide. This is not, it can hold 3-4 people. This is a small operation built for speed. So Gary leapt onto that with him. So they're feet, you know, just hands length away from each other.
Cool. Then I'm gonna attack the guy who's next to Gary. And
as a marauder should.
And I'm going to use once per round. I can make an attack with 1 bane. If I hit my target, he's blinded for 1 round. So I'm attempting to blind him. This is my pocket sand.
Gotcha.
Yeah. As I run, I like kick up some dirt from the plant as I scoot in and kick dirt in his eye. So that was a 19 and a bane of 1, so it's an 18 to hit.
No. So boom, you reach into your pocket and you pull out these little bits of fungi and plant matter that you always keep in case, and you throw it in his face, and he's screaming out. He's blinded. He's hanging on to the life force. Let's see if he hangs on to it. He's still holding on to the life force, but he's blinded. He's spinning around. He definitely can't steer the skiff. Oliver. The doors are open. The ocean is before you.
There's another skiff, right?
There's 2. So one that Leva is in, and then one that Gary and Lyric are in.
All right. I'm gonna go protect Gary. So I'm gonna head over to the skiff, and I'm going to try to attack Lyric.
Okay. With your blade, go for it. Roll 1d20.
Yes. Okay. All right. I got a boom. Come on, protect Gary. Yeah, it's over 20.
Nice. So you ram that your thorn blade straight into his chest. Roll 1d6. It's 1d6 plus 2. Is that what you're doing on damage with that, or what is it?
Yes. Yes, I believe so. I think that was it.
Okay.
Oh wait, should he have taken damage when I hit too? Because it's blinded plus an attack. I should have rolled an attack with that. Yeah.
Yeah. You should. I thought. Yeah. If you were slashing at him as well, you didn't. Okay.
Yeah.
Because you're talking about it's.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's a new one. It's the dust in the eyes. You make an attack with 1 bane if you hit. So it's an attack plus blinded.
Let me see here.
Or is it just blinding them? Sorry to interrupt you, Duke.
No,
you're good.
It says, you make an attack with 1 bane if you hit your target's blind. So not that you make an attack, you're attacking as in regards to the function of rolling 1d20 to hit, not that you're attacking with a weapon.
Gotcha. So it's just to affect blindness, not hit anything else.
That's right.
Sorry. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
8 points.
So boom. Lyric is cut up. His blood is spilling all over this life force. He is screaming out. He already is struggling in so many ways to hold on to this life force. He's fumbling back here in the skiff. And now it's the Plant Weaver's turns. So Catelyn is screaming out now, and of course she's still deaf for another round. She's screaming out some nonsense, but she jumps on the skiff She jumps on the skiff with Gary, and she reaches out with her vines that, as you can now clearly see, she has some sort of living weapon on her arm that she's extending these vines from, and she wraps them around you, and she rips the triangle out of your back, and it drops you to your knees. And she's now on the skiff. She has the triangle in her hand. She has the life force, and she's on the skiff. So Alex looks around, and she realizes this is probably a losing match, and she hits the back of the skiff, and using her plant weaver power, she uses the strength of this, she can command this engine room. She shoots that skiff. She pushes it out into the water. So the skiff so Gary, you're on it still, if I'm not mistaken, right? So the three of you are on that skiff, and it flashes, cuts into the water. And right at that moment, the vines covering the bottom floor are ripped open, and the Crimson Mask pours in with a couple seafarers and a couple crew members, and she's screaming out to Nemain and to Petra, that life force cannot reach the Leviathan without us being in control of it. If it reaches them, they will control the great Leviathan, they will control the waters, and then soon the mainland. You fools. You do not realize the power that the person who awakens the great Leviathan will have. This is a force upon the waters that has never existed before now.
Yeah, we're working on it.
So they're now in the room, and she's now there in the room with a couple of crew members. Gary, we're going to jump straight to you. You're now in the water, and you are cruising straight towards the whirlpool. So the boat actually gets caught in the whirlpool, and it's starting to swing you around. You are caught in its hole. And Catelyn is trying to steer this thing. Water is coming in on you guys. You're starting to get sucked down. And you can see, as you're kind of spinning, you can see that great maw, that huge Leviathan, and you can only imagine if this thing wakes up. And there you are with the life force. And Catelyn, what are you doing?
Can Gary hear me yelling?
Am I not deaf anymore, or am I still deaf for it?
Unfortunately, this is the last. This is, I guess there was one more round, so this is it. You're back to hearing now.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. There was
Just
only one
time
left on the
for
counter.
death.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. There's only one left on the counter. So yeah, it's done. Yeah.
All right. So yeah, what?
So sound starts to flood back in, and unfortunately, it's the sound of shrieking sharks and a whirlpool, and unlikely, and it could easily be the end of your life. The main.
So would he be able to hear me if I yelled at him to look up?
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, I mean, I'll look up because she said to, and I'm assuming I see your bird.
Right. I want your attention drawn to Azrael because that will be important. Just remember that.
So yeah, he looks up and there's like a nod of like, oh yeah. And oh yeah, okay. I have a question. I have an essence ability. It's a fun one, and I want to talk about it real quick. There is something called... Let me look at it real quick so I remember the correct name, because it's so cool I want to talk about it. Endure Environment. To activate an essence power, is that like an additional thing you do, or does that take your action and you can't do anything else?
Sorry, say that last bit again.
Endure Environment. It's a duration that once you kick it on, you don't have to breathe anymore.
That's right.
Is it
this would be a great time to use that?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. My question is once I use it, do I have to, like, is that my action, or how does that work? Like, can I just kick that on and do something, or is that my turn if I turn that on?
Yeah, Endure Environment. Let me just see that real quick. But if I'm not mistaken, it takes an action to ignite it, and then it's on. Okay. So you could turn that on right now, and you could get yourself ready to get wet.
Yeah, I guess, I'm gonna kick that on.
Your guys are caught in this whirlpool, and you're gonna go down.
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna kick that on, and just like as a passive, just because I'm trying to get my balance, I'm gonna like lean on the life force, just like make sure my hands are on it, and that's all I want to do, just because I'm sure she's focused on the boat.
Yeah, that's right. So you've got Catelyn trying to steer the boat. You got Lyric trying to hang on to the sphere. It's a whole thing, and she's got the
triangle.
Triangles. Yeah, back in her chest. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, hold your breath.
Nice. All right. The main. What are you doing?
So I am trying to direct Azrael at this point. Now that the boat is out and they are moving and they're going down, I want to try to direct Azrael to make the motion to dive down. If we can position, or the position is there, to make an aerial dive straight towards the water to go into Catelyn's chest to get the triangle again, to get possession back of that. So she's going to outstretch her claws to open up to dig in to grab that.
Sure.
But line herself up in the off chance that she may miss, to at least take out the boat along the component that's powering it, to go straight through it.
Yeah, so the boat, if you can imagine, this is like, imagine what you have is, you have this wooden organic boat, and the engine of it is as big as me, in the back, right? And if she were to plow into it, it would break her bones if she descended straight, because this is a hard ship. She could try and scoop that out of her back, which would be incredibly tricky, a couple of banes, but that's a realistic thing. But actually attacking this ship, it probably has 100 health, right? It would be hard. She would probably lose in that fight.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was thinking like wood and vines. I think more so is where my head was at. So that makes more sense.
Just because of the size of it, we're talking about something that is, quite, large when you're considering just a bird.
And that's completely fair. That makes a lot more sense. So in that case, we definitely want to angle her down towards getting possession of that triangle again. The positive side of the dive is that it is the 2d6. Obviously, there are banes involved, but if it hits, it's still double damage.
Yep. No, the dive is awesome. If you can get to do it, you're not necessarily attempting to do damage. You're trying to rip that out.
Right.
But for certainly there'll be some damage. And so go for it. Roll 1d20, 2 banes.
Okay. 12.
So roll the 2 banes.
On a 20 again?
No, so roll 2 dice 6. Do you have the 2 dice 6 handy?
Yeah,
I can do it.
I got one. I'll just have to roll twice.
It's fine.
6.
Ooh.
5.
So 6. So 12 minus 6 is 6. And this bird swoops in close. Catelyn ducks, and it just misses her across the back. But she still certainly has it. Leva, what are you doing?
Well, Leva is just basically broken because she knows that she cannot steer this ship. She knows that she has no way that she can help anyone now, including her little brother. So she just is on the ship on her knees, sobbing.
Ooh. Katie, what are you doing?
Oof. I'm in a similar boat, but on kind of the opposite team. Because I'm so close combat oriented. I think I'm gonna run up to the deck if I can do that in one move to get a better vantage point and to get into open air, because I can jump and kind of.
You really try. There's certainly like seafarers and crew members, and the Crimson Mask is right behind you. If you were to run up the stairs past them, but you could certainly give it a go. It would take the entirety of your action to try and get to the top of the deck, because it's 3 floors up. It would take everything.
Yeah, I can't do too much else. So yeah, I think I would probably just be like, fine, get out of my way then. We'll fix this. And yeah, I want to get eyes on Gary.
Okay, so you're running up there. The seafarers are looking at you oddly. They know that you're working with the Crimson Mask, so they're a little confused. Where's she going? The Crimson Mask is yells back at you, "This is no time to be running." But you break up to the top of the
Yeah,
deck.
I
and you
yell
can
back, I'm better in the open air, assholes! And get into the open air.
So right, you're on top of the boat, and you can see Gary is on this boat, is circling around in this whirlpool, and it's starting to be sucked in. Oliver, what are you doing?
No, because I went and attacked someone and they just went away.
So you can try and run up and help Arcady. You can try and jump into the water and swim to the boat. You can try and console Leva, whose life has just been torn in shambles. What are you thinking?
Man, you know what? I'm gonna go over to Leva.
Okay. You're consoling Leva. She's weeping there on the boat. You're like, hey, we're gonna get through this, but probably
Just
not.
think about rocks. Think about rocks. It's fine.
We're on the other side and we're losing. So the Crimson Mask goes running full speed. She bursts right past you guys and she leaps out the open hole and leaps through the air. And she could tell the mask is enraged, which means it's glowing, and which enhances her strength and all of her physical performance feats. And she leaps out on to the deck, boom, of your skiff there, Gary. Boom, and she is there, and she is immediately, her and Catelyn are immediately at it, and Lyric is trying to hold on to this sphere as it continues to get sucked down. Let's see. They do not break out of the whirlpool, and they're continuing to spin down. Water is now, you're being submerged in water. So, Gary, you're going to need to make a strength check to hold on to the ship if you want to, or you can let go, whatever you choose.
Let me ask you this. Can I make a strength check to specifically hold on to the life force, whether or not I hold on to the ship instead? Because I'm not trying to hold on to the boat.
You can reach out and grab the life force if you want.
And all the better if that ends up going with me, in my opinion. So yeah, just strength check. So fun fact, now that I removed that other piece of living gear, my strength is now only a 12. So I'll only get a +2 bonus to whatever I roll. Because my original, it's an 18. So that's a dirty 20.
You grab a hold of that, and Lyric is looking at you with all kinds of things. This is your triggered action. So Lyric, go ahead and gives you, what's your defense?
It is. I'm going to say that since I'm not using the bone shield right now, because I have it, but I'm not.
No.
I'm holding on to other stuff. So it is. Let me look at it. I think it's 11. It is.
Gotcha.
11.
So you take. You take 3 points of damage, and Lyric essentially has formed this spike of vines, and he's holding on with the sphere at one, and he stabs it into you, and it plunges into your shoulder. And back inside we have Alex, and she is forced into conflict with the new guy in ship crew members and the Red Alliance, and she's in the middle of attacking them, sending vines to kill them. She's battling it out with the crew members. All right, so Gary, the ship has now failed its third attempt, and it is caught in the whirlpool here, and you're fully submerged. You imagine you're now 10, 20 feet underwater and going at an accelerating rate somewhere. The Crimson Mask has managed to hold on. So has Catelyn, though she's barely holding on, and all of you are headed down. In other words, Catelyn's face is, it's starting to feel the pressure. And out of that triangle, these vines rake across her head, and almost like a membranous film goes across her face. And she has some sort of breathing mask. The Crimson Mask has all kinds of function, and she's down there. And Lyric is just trying to hold on. He hasn't managed to find a way to breathe just yet. But you're level-headed here underneath it, and you are caught at full power into the whirlpool. So it is jettisoning you at full speed down into the depths of the water. And what you can see out is you can see that you're going down the side of the great Leviathan. And you can see its midsection is almost like that of a man, and then it ends in this flange of probably another 100 tentacles at the bottom. And partway down, you can see that this whirlpool leads into an opening in the stomach of the Leviathan. And it shoots you straight into it. You're coming right at it, and it opens up, and boom, you're inside the stomach of the great Leviathan. And as you spill out into the stomach of it, you have the Crimson Mask and Catelyn fighting to get, you're holding on to the life force, and Catelyn and the Crimson Mask both look at you. We need that.
Oh no. This is not
and
ideal.
so and we need that. And so you have one action before they take an action.
Oh my gosh. Okay. This is so dark. How soft is this life force?
It's something that could be destroyed. For sure. It's fragile, I would say.
I hate it. I hate everything about it. Can I live with myself? Ugh. I'm trying to. He sees both of them, and they're both trying to like do this. And it's a situation where I just have to decide: do I destroy this thing? Oh, in the moment, this is important. Okay, I was able to like feel this thing for a moment when I had the triangle on it.
Yep.
Like, did it have a con? Oh God, never mind. I'm just gonna try to rip it away from him. Let's just do that. I'm just gonna grab I have it firmly. I'm just going to try with all the force I never skip leg day, obviously.
Right.
And I'm just gonna try
you are in
pick off
a conflict situation. Yeah, I mean, so what happens? You've rested inside of the stomach, which is you're inside the stomach of the beast. It's now this 40 by 40 space that you're in. There's a pool of acid in the middle, and this part is not petrified. This is how the beast has been, though petrified, kept alive for all these years. It's been sucking things down, this whirlpool into its stomach, slowly feeding it. So you are in the living belly of the beast. There's acid, there's strands of flesh around you, and the exit is not available to you now as it's closed behind you. And there's you verse 3 with this spear. So this is the setting of where you are at. You are Jonah in the whale, so to speak, right? You are in this belly here. You can smell the death and the acid and the rotten flesh. You are in a place. You are in a dangerous place, and they all want that spear.
Hey, how about you two fight each other, pointing at the two people wearing masks, and I'll fight this guy, the guy who's already been stabbed by Oliver on the other side of the spear, and whoever wins, we can have a conversation. So I'm going to go do that, and I go to punch that guy.
So you try to rip it, you're trying to take out Lyric. Okay, roll 1d20.
Okay.
Who is also blind.
Oh, yeah! Is he still? I love that.
No, he's not blind anymore, technically.
Oh, it's a 3, which means it's a 5.
So you swing and he ducks right underneath it. You both are fighting over this sphere. And so...
Okay. Die down
here. So Catelyn shoots out her vines and she rips the sphere out of both of your hands. And it rips apart this sphere, and the fetus drops into the center. It drops to the flesh of this beast. And it almost immediately comes to life and starts to merge with the flesh. And the Crimson Mask is screaming and screaming and starts stabbing Catelyn with this wicked blade that she has, this bone-serrated blade. And she starts stabbing her as this fetus is essentially merged with the flesh of this beast. And for those of you on the surface on the ship, this massive Leviathan shakes and shakes and shakes. And you can start to see bits of the stone falling off of it and starting to break off of this Leviathan, revealing the flesh beneath it. So the Lyric is screaming out, to try and stop the Crimson Mask from killing Catelyn, because to control the beast, one needs to put the life force and have the triangle. So the person with the triangle is also dead, who controls the beast. So this is where we're at. Is anybody on the ship want to take an action? You guys obviously don't know I guess Petra would know what's happening in the stomach here. But he's clearly in a place that can't be gotten to by anyone else. But you can see the stone. The seafarers have all stopped on the deck. People are stopping and staring. It's happening. The great Leviathan is coming back to life.
I'm pushing them out of my way, and I have a coil of living rope in my gear, and I am taking the rope and tying it to the ship, and me, and I am prepared to.
You're ready.
Jump in the water if I see Gary, and jump in and pull Gary out, but just kind of waiting.
Cool. So you tie yourself up. Leva, Oliver, are you guys doing anything? And Autumn, you guys are in the engine room still. Alex has essentially fallen to the seafarers, by the way. She has been overrun by the seafarers and the crew, and she is now a dead woman.
Is based on what I saw, would Leva think that she has any chance of being able to hook herself up and control this ship?
No. This is about as sophisticated as it's a very sophisticated piece of living. You could try to bond with it. This is a giant piece. You can see what happens. The strain will be tremendous.
No, then she just does nothing.
Because currently, Dervin is dead, the captain. Gentry's in the water. The two symbionts are there, and you've got a ship that's essentially, for lack of a better term, it's floating, right? Go for it.
My options are hella limited, but I know. How far away is Catelyn's body? The triangle is still attached to Catelyn's body, or is it falling away from her?
No, it's inside. No. Catelyn is very much alive. It's Alex that is dead inside. So Catelyn, Lyric, Gary, and the Crimson Mask are inside the belly of the beast. So they're 200 feet under the water, inside of this stone thing. So getting to them is not a realistic option, at least not in one action.
What I was trying.
The questions. Go for it. Yeah.
Oh, I was thinking about Petra tying this living vine around her, and what I could get Mam to do to help as an extra pull force, because she does have that extra strength to go with the pull, so that Petra at least could have the ability to try to snag Gary without risk of being swept under with the rest of the current. And if Gary could get his hand around...
So Gary's inside the belly of the beast.
Right.
So he's not accessible by anybody on the ship. He's a couple hundred feet underwater inside a stone casing.
Even with Petra diving in?
I haven't dove in yet, because I can't see.
You're so...
I'm
so Petra's
hoping he might pop back out, but I'm in a similar boat of there's nothing we can quite directly do yet.
Yeah, he's far away. Yeah, you guys are on the ship still, so you couldn't quite reach him. If you want to tie yourself to the boat, because essentially, and this thing wakes up, it's going to move, and then you have a boat that doesn't move. So it would be nice to be attached to it when it gets pushed.
What a predicament.
Yep, I got nothing.
Nothing. All right. So we're back down to you, Gary. What are you doing here? Because the Leviathan is coming to life, and the Crimson Mask is still stabbing Catelyn.
Well, Oh man, what a rough day for me. I guess
your mission was to make sure. Your mission was to make sure no one that the beast did not get awakened, right?
Yeah, we're already here.
So it's awakened, but maybe the next best thing you could do is to make sure that no person gets to control it.
Yeah, that was my thought, but also like then we're here with it, which is equally bad. I'm going to. So I'm assuming they're fighting there. What is the dude I tried to attack that he ducked out of the way? Is he just chilling, or is he like freaking out? Can he?
I mean, he's ready for a fight. He's ready for a fight. I mean, he's been hurt. He's ready for a fight. The sphere is dropped. I mean, he's going to certainly try to help Catelyn out.
Can he breathe down here, or like? Because I assume
you're inside the stomach. You're inside the stomach.
Oh,
so
it's a pocket of air. Oh, well then I'll let Petra know. Mentally, I'm like, I don't expect you to come down here, but there is air. Which is nice, but that's just for you. It was lovely having this time with y'all, and then yeah, there's he'll try one last time. The last thing he's gonna try before he just like says screw it is while they're stabbing at each other, he will try one last time to grab that triangle and rip it out since we've passed it around a million times already.
Roll 1d20.
Please be the saving roll.
That is a 10 plus 2, so that is a 12.
All right, so you would have a boon because you have a surprise attack.
Oh,
because technically, right? You would have a boon.
I'll take whatever I can get.
Let's see if we can get there.
That's a 4, so that's 16 total.
Boom. You grab it and you rip it out of Catelyn's back. You now have it. You now have the sphere. And what's starting to happen is the Leviathan is coming to life, right? You have the sphere in the hand, and you can start to see behind you the stomach has opened up. It's opening back up because it's starting to retake shape, right? So there's a pathway out there. There's also the esophagus that leads up out of the mouth. That's starting to open up as the stone is coming off this creature. So you have this in your hand, and maybe you have a way out.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I mean, and as soon as he pulled it out, as soon as it was free, the first thing he's going to do, when I have an action, I don't want to impose that, but the first thing he's going to do is shove it back in and just like, no.
Roll 1d6.
Okay. That is a 1.
Okay, so one more strain to take it back in one more time.
I think I'm still okay on strain. I was totally ready to break. I was willing to go.
I thought you were going to break right there.
So that's got me at 8 out of 10, though. Something could push me over. So, yeah.
Okay.
No.
Boom. So there's your action. So Catelyn, Lyric, and the Crimson are all going for you. And
I'm going to die down here.
Okay, so Lyric and Catelyn miss. Their vines are lashing out at you. They miss. The Crimson Mass manages to cut you. For 9 points of damage.
That's a lot, but I am okay. That just hurt real bad.
All right. So the Leviathan is now above you guys on the deck of the ship. You can see the tentacles are lashing up. The stone is breaking off. It's flapping down like the living skiff that the seafarers were in, the little side boat. A tentacle just crashes down on it and sinks it as it's starting to come to life, this huge thing. And it's starting to rise up from the ocean. And this big, this massive form is rising up, and the ship is starting to be lifted up on this wave that's coming with it. That you guys are now holding yourself to. Gary, it's your next turn. What do you want to try and do?
I'm getting out. I've got the triangle in me. I'm out of here as fast as possible, whichever way is.
So the fast thing is to try to like dig yourself through this. So, because imagine there's a hole in its stomach, right? That it's been, the whirlpool has been leading things into. Mm-hmm. So you could try and like dig your way out of that. Not necessarily easy. That's the closest. Or it's getting across the stomach acid and out the esophagus.
Oh man. If I go up through the stomach, I'd have to try to swim through a whirlpool, right?
Well, at that point, the beast is coming up. The whirlpool is no longer in the same function anymore.
Oh, cool. Oh, right, because it was sucking stuff into the stomach. Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Then,
the beast is now rising up out of the water. The whirlpool, for those above it, it is dithered away. It's no longer in needed or in function.
Yeah, I'm going to try to climb out, and as I'm doing that, let Petra know, whirlpool's gone, I'm coming up, I have the triangle, I'm real hurt.
Can I ask a question?
Okay, Gary, I got you.
What's that in the main?
The control of this creature is part of the whole sphere, or not the sphere, the triangle component, right? So whoever holds that controls the beast.
In theory, because you're supposed to be you needed both to control the beast. The life force, which wasn't Gary, but now he has the triangle. So he's separated the control. So who knows what will be the answer now?
And the life force is now bonded already with the Leviathan.
Yeah, that's right. It's awakening it. Yeah, like the Leviathan is waking up. Who will be the boss when it's awake is unknown.
So we're looking at a 50-50 split because technically he's got the component that would allow for control, but the sphere was the other 50% of the control. So inherently, realistically, if you would think about it as a split, it has 50% of its own mind, but 50% is questionable, right?
That's a good way to look at it.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, so Gary, you're trying to climb out. Roll 1d20.
All right, here we go.
You got this.
Oh my gosh.
That is a 10. Is this a strength check? Because that'll put me at a 12.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
so that's a 12.
All right, so you start digging and crawling through this fleshy, almost a sphincter. There's no other way to say it. As you're digging your way out of this sort of grossness thing, and as you pull out, you break into the water, and as you look back, you can see this thing, the tentacles down beneath, all the stone falling off of them, and it's starting to come to life. Now, you're deep underwater. If you didn't have Endure Environment, you'd be in trouble. You are deep. You're probably in the 100 feet underwater land, which the pressure on that's insane, right? So you're deep, and as you're floating there, there's almost no need because the Leviathan is coming up.
Oh, boy.
It's rising up, and it's almost like it's pushing you up into the air. And as you guys are up above on the land, up above on, sorry, not on land, on the ship, the great Leviathan comes up out of the water. It rises 200-300 feet out of the water. The waves are massive, knocking ships, and anybody not either in the hull or tied to something is tossed away. Arcadia, you're thrown off the ship, but held on by your vine. Gary, you come flying out of the water, through the air as this thing rises up. And go ahead and make an agility check here. Let's see if you can grab onto anything as you're flying through the air, or if you just are lost at sea.
Okay, agility. There's my d20, and I get a 1. So that's a 9 that I rolled. I have an 11, so I get a 1, so it's a flat 10.
So you come flying out of the water. You manage to crash yourself into one of the big membranous sails on the sea route. You slam into that, and you're there climbing onto this thing, digging at it as you slide down and crashing to the deck. The ship is pushing away from the huge presence of the Leviathan, and as you stare up at it, this is unarguably the greatest beast you have ever seen and the world has ever seen, as it rises now almost 500 feet above the water, blacking out any sort of sky or any sort of vision. And the seafarers are humbled. They're praying to it. The Nugayan people are panicked. And what you realize, Gary, is that the Crimson Mask and Catelyn are still stuck in that stomach.
Yeah, they are.
And they probably won't make it out this afternoon. As you're there on the ship, you've got the triangle embedded in you. You can feel some connection to this Leviathan. But you can feel some connection to this Leviathan, but it's disturbed. You could hear, because it's this voluminous rage of this beast, like the ocean itself echoing in your mind. You can't even begin to kind of figure out how to control this thing. But whatever it can be perceived as its head, that massive head, turns down to look down at you, Gary. and it stares at you for a moment. And for a moment, the two of you connect, and it realizes you are a piece of it. And then it slumps back into the water, disappears into the blackness, and this big wave pushes the boat away into the black clouds, and you guys are now drifting at sea in a boat with an engine that you might not know how to use. And while you didn't stop the Leviathan from being awakened, now no one is certain really who controls the beast. Certainly not the Crimson Mask or Catelyn. So the sea route is drifting away. You guys are on it both in shambles physically and emotionally if you're Leva. And that's where we'll end our journey.
I have a son now.
That's
Or
fine.
daughter.
I feel better. My concerns are pretty much in the belly of the beast, literally. So
Yeah. They are in the belly of the beast, any of those problems. And the fallout from this, you can't even begin to imagine as you guys are drifting away through the waters, sort of this floating ship, this Leviathan now birthed into the world, and what that will change across it. Now there is a beast that not even the seafarers, no one can rival. And that's where we'll end our adventure for tonight. Thank you for playing, guys. This was amazing. I loved all the choices. It was so cool. I know we went a little long, but I was trying to get that thing closed, and I wanted to see how it came out. But thank you all so much. And thank you, Mercs of Mischief, for having me, and Asunder.
All right,
Thank you.
that
Ew.
was intense. Things got a little heated there. But, hey, on the plus side, there's now a world-ending monster on the loose. So, be sure to join us next month, and maybe we'll see what comes of that. In the meantime, congratulations to our giveaway winners. Stay tuned for the raid. And Adam, our closing words.
Sometimes in life you're stuck between a rock and a rock and a rock.